What's shaking, everybody? My name is Ross Mandell. I'm coming to you live today from Delray Beach, Florida. What a treat, what a privilege I have for you guys today. I've heard the name Lolli, as in lollipop, but they talk about a guy named Anthony Lai and his stunning wife, TereZa Lolli, right here in Boca Raton, my bailiwick. What? And I did a little homework, and my team was all jazzed up and said, you are just going to love these people. And I'm like, all right, they say that all the time. I don't know. And then I watched some video, and I watched some more video, and I went on Instagram, and I went on TikTok, and I watched a documentary, and I'm on YouTube, and I'm looking at this guy, fat guy, overweight guy, full of himself, his gorgeous wife. All of a sudden, the fat man is no longer the fat man. I want you to meet Anthony and TereZa Lolli, and we're going to get to hear their story and what makes them tick. What's shaking, guys?
Thank you, Ross.
Wow, what an intro. Thank you.
So excited
Thanks
to have
for
you
having
guys
us.
here.
Likewise, thank you.
And we're very authentic here.
Yes.
We had a great little conversation prior to going live on camera, and I did a lot of research because my team has been hawking me, saying, you got to understand these people, what they're doing, they're filming documentaries, biohacking, they're ahead of the curve. These are not pedestrians. These are not sheep. You're looking at shepherds, okay? They are telling the flock, they're advising the flock, they're bringing all kinds of great information to the world. I'm proud to have you guys here.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I mean that. So there's so much ground to cover.
Yes.
What I love to do is, because I'm sort of a linear thinker, I like to roll the clock back and say, who the hell is Anthony Lolli? Who are you? Where'd you come from? What's your story?
All right.
Where were you born and raised?
Okay, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
Me too.
Yes.
Well, born, I should say.
Son of a World War II veteran, Italian father.
Okay.
My mother's an immigrant from Ecuador, so came from a mixed background, and my dad was a public school teacher, and my mom a housewife. But before that, she lived in an abandoned building, worked through sweatshops, became a home attendant, a beautician, and then she met my dad.
So you're not some rich kid that came out of Brooklyn.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. So I learned from that kind of blood, sweat, and tears background to really take full advantage of my surroundings, all the people that could mentor me. I soaked it all up. Fast forward the hands of time, I stumbled into a real estate class opportunity, much like the stock market. The barrier of entry was low, but you kind of really have to have aptitude and understand salesmanship. And I learned a lot of that from working with my dad. My dad was a street entertainer, put a sailor's hat on because he was a Navy veteran, said, take a photo with the parrot for $5, took a Polaroid camera, put a blue and gold macaw on your shoulder while you were having dinner, and took a Polaroid picture and charged you $5. So I was his little sidekick hustler next to him.
So you all guys were real hustlers. I didn't know this part.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, so that's my background.
That's
And
very cool.
Yeah. And then eventually took a real estate course and realized that in 1 week for $150 I can get my real estate license and make millions of dollars.
What year was that, do you know?
Oh, in the 90s. Okay. I was 19 years old. I was at a crossroad. I was going to Kingsborough Community College in Brooklyn, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I took business administration. And then my friend's father, who really was not working for my entire life as my friend turned 18, 19, he was out of work. Then he got his real estate license, started making thousands of dollars a day. I said, if he could do it, I could do it.
Monkey see, monkey
That was
do.
it.
That's my attitude in life.
That was it. So I dropped out of college and pursued a real estate agent career. That was my path.
Did your parents give you a hard time about dropping
My
out of
mother
college?
gave me a hard time.
Oh, I'm
my
sure.
mother was like, oh, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And she was the immigrant, was like, American dream, you got to get your diploma. Where TereZa's the opposite. She went and got her degree and the whole diploma. I dropped out and I went through the school of hard knocks. And so that pathway really put me in a position to really earn and learn at the same time. And so I got my real estate license at 19, at 18, at
Wow.
21. I bought my first piece of real estate. At 23, I became a multimillionaire. Fast forward the hands of time, we own 40 buildings in New York, 16 ground-up developments in Florida. I started a real estate school, became the second largest real estate school in New York City, built and sold that, started a billboard company, became a very, very large billboard company, sold it to the third largest billboard company in New York City, wrote a book, called The Heart of the Deal, became an international bestseller.
The Heart of the Deal.
The Heart of the Deal. At the same time, Trump was running for president the first time. He had stopped promoting The Art of the Deal in terms of SEO. But I named my book The Heart of the Deal.
What a smart guy you are.
And then I actually gave it to prisoners. It became a bestseller because I put it in all the libraries and I gave it to all the prisons.
Brilliant.
And so,
brilliant idea.
Yeah, it was an amazing tool. And I started a real estate school and built and sold that. And then I started building a real estate brokerage franchise. So I went and opened up one location and then scaled it to 100 locations nationally and sold it. But throughout that process, I gained a lot of fame and notoriety in the real estate world.
And you've also created a lot of, you learned the art of the exit, right?
The art of
so
the
a lot
exit.
of guys learn how to get into business, how to fund a business, how to grow. But an exit is
it's a whole
that's how
nother
you
ball
create
game.
real capital.
And then also not to cannibalize yourself, because in
100%.
building a sales organization, the key to becoming successful is being the CEO. So I created mini CEOs. So their exit strategy after working for me was opening up a franchise. So this way I wasn't building my own competitors, because early on I was doing that. I was losing top talent. And so I was able to retain top talent. But throughout the whole journey, my greatest acquisition was meeting my wife. That was really the best opportunity.
Prior to meeting her,
Yeah.
I would have said to myself, sure. But I get it. It's the most important. Who your life partner is the single most important thing. I know for me, I married also the right woman.
Yeah.
And it's everything, because you're just clearly a stud, bro.
Thank you.
You're a friggin' stud.
Thank you.
And you're humble.
Thank you.
And I love that about you right now. I love it. But if you marry, I have a lot of friends that did their lives perfectly. They did everything right. They made one mistake in their lives. They married the wrong woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she becomes the bitch, and then there's the divorce and the arguments and the fighting, and then the kids are troubled, and it consumes your life.
Yeah.
So choose wisely, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Choose wisely. What a phenomenal story. The one thing I have to go back, I want to just go back. You must have made some commission since you got your license, 19, 20, right? You bought a building. I'm sure you put down a small amount of money.
Yeah, it was a large amount of money at the time.
For you, but I'm just saying, you didn't put down more than 20%.
20% is what I had to pull down because I didn't have the credit
no credit history,
no credit history. So I had to really make a lot of commissions. But my secret sauce in making commissions.
But hold on, I want to just understand. So now you have this building, right? I also bought a co-op when I was 22.
Yeah.
Turned out to be multi-million-dollar deal eventually, but I got an inside price on something in the middle of Manhattan, Murray Hill, beautiful building. But how do you become a multimillionaire at 23?
Okay.
So there's something that happened in that period of time.
So it's a longer story, but to sum it up, I got my real estate license. I started working for Fillmore Real Estate. They were a big agency. Even you probably heard of them, but I left Fillmore to work on my own in an area called Brooklyn Heights.
Oh, my goodness.
Right.
That went like a rocket ship.
Exactly. And so Brooklyn Heights, I noticed there was a particular sweet spot, rentals. So when you were renting apartments, the people would pay you a month's commission. Whatever the rent was, they'd pay you a month or 15%. The rents in that area were $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. I was doing 2-3 rentals a day.
A day. So
you figure how much do you need to make $1 million a year? I was doing that every single day. That was my target in order to do that.
I love it.
So, I was able to put a substantial down payment. And back then it was 20% down when you don't have any credit.
Still is really,
that was really what it was. But I bought in areas that I knew had upside. At the time, Brooklyn, Park Slope South.
It was on the come up.
It was on the come up. And because I had my fingers on the rental market, I knew what the next rental boom area was going to be.
Of course, you're in the game.
I was in the game.
You're a hustler, and you're a street guy. And you talk to people. I was
talking to people. I was talking to land. Who's your broker? Who's your mortgage broker? Who's your insurance broker? Who's your lawyer? Who's your title company?
What can I do to get your business, et cetera? Exactly. I get it. I love it.
So their resources became my resource. Now, in terms of mentorship, when you sell somebody's home, you might shake their hand one time at the closing. But when you're renting somebody's building, I'm meeting you 20, 30, 40 times a month, and I'm putting money in your pocket. I'm giving you qualified tenants. So we're best friends. You're my mentor. Well, yeah. And I had 30 of you guys.
Right.
So I was able to learn what the next up-and-coming areas. So I quickly and quietly bought real estate in the areas that were on the come-up. So when there was the refi boom, when the interest rates lowered,
right,
I was able to take advantage of cash-out refis,
Understand.
HELOCs. I had like, $500,000.
You just had checkbooks everywhere.
I had checkbooks everywhere. But I was careful. But
you're growing your equity.
I was growing my equity. I was growing my portfolio. I was also growing my construction knowledge, my construction crew. I built my own team. Rehabs.
I love it.
And at the same time, I was building my own brokerage.
You weren't married at this point.
We hadn't met nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
She was 10. I don't know how old.
So 23.
I was 13.
She was 13, yeah. So I was 23
My
years
wife
old.
was 16 years younger.
There you go.
Yeah, I was already a wealthy guy.
There you go.
And
so,
set up and all that.
So that was it. So by the time I ended up buying this Rolex, which I bought when I was 23, I remember I was in Wempe, and Donald Trump Jr.
Don't tell me you paid retail.
I did pay retail. But I was getting ready to buy a presidential. And at the time, Don Jr. was pretty much, I think we're about the same age. He was like, what are you buying there? I said, I'm buying a presidential. He said, are you a millionaire? I said, well, I'm kind of like a multimillionaire. He said, no, presidential's for a millionaire. He says, a masterpiece is for a multimillionaire. I bought the masterpiece at 23 years old. At that time, it was $32,000. I still have it because it reminds me of where I started when I actually had a good impact in my life. And so from there, it was just meeting more people and just understanding financing and relationships and providing value to others. That was the main thing that made me successful. It's mainly what's in it for the other person. Providing value to them, relationships, keeping your word, building and being a good leader. Because part of being a good leader, and it goes back to being a husband and finding the right woman. If you're a 3 husband, you're not going to attract a 7 or a 10 wife. That's just the way it boils down to. And the same thing boils down to being a leader. If you're a 3 leader, you're only going to attract 2s and 1s and 0s. So you have to increase your leadership role, your understanding, your knowledge, your relationships, and what you could bring to other people. Then you're going to attract the 9s and 10s that want to be next to you.
You're just a high value guy. Yeah. And high value men tend to have these core principles and values. Many of them never read a book, never studied the space. How do I get better? How do I get more from life? Self-improvement, all these different things. But somewhere, somehow, it's in your DNA.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. Maybe, it's going on the street to restaurants with a macaw and Polaroid.
That's right.
I mean, it comes from that hustle, that idea that I can do that, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's go to the lovely TereZa. Who are you? Where are you? Where are you from?
I'm from Armenia.
So you were literally born in Armenia?
Yeah, born and raised.
Where is Armenia? Some people don't know.
Armenia is considered to be a part of Middle East. It's surrounded by Turkey, Azerbaijan, Iran, and Georgia. It's literally in the center of all of that.
I recently had a very controversial podcast with Beck Lover from New York,
Okay.
Albanian.
Okay.
Talking about the whole history of Albania, Serbia, Armenia, all these different things.
Yes.
I couldn't really fact check him because he seemed to really know a lot of stuff. Thousands of comments now online, arguments and all these different things. I just think it's very cool. It's stimulating. It's fun. But I had a little history with some Armenians. So I had dear friends that were, Armenian that brought me eventually to the church.
In New York.
Yeah. And so...
Armenians have a very rich background, rich history. We are considered to be the first Christian nation that actually accepted Christianity as a national religion. And now they're finding that Noah's Ark actually stopped on Mount Ararat, which is actually in Armenia.
Yeah, they actually found it, and it's now classified information because they're starting to find out that everything in the Old Testament is coming up true.
Yes. Right? So Armenians have been a blessed country, and through generations and thousands of years, we should have been destroyed by many of the enemies, and yet we still stand. And now there's so many successful Armenians all over the world.
You have a rich history.
Very rich
history.
But
the world has been trying to get rid of Armenia. It's, and
for a while.
It kills me because I have those early relationships that, I valued. So now your parents were married and were together?
Absolutely. So, I was raised in a very much of a bubble, very innocent, very protected, very secure, very safe. Both of my parents, math professors. In Armenia.
Yeah. And you went to school there and everything?
Everything. I was 20 years old when I immigrated with $300 in my pocket, and I didn't really speak the language here. So that's the story. But before I got to where I was, and I always want to point this out when I'm on podcasts, right? I was raised with no electricity, no television, no screen times. The first time I laid my eyes on screen was that when I was 12 years old, and we got one of those tiny little TVs that just delivered the news, which was boring to us, so you can cancel that too. So I grew up very, very childlike dreamer, and I really harnessed this ability to understand that the world is my oyster. It's so wide open. I can really become who I want to become. It gave me room to dream. It gave me room to have passion and understand I can be as big as I want to, and I can be as successful as I want to.
So your parents nurtured that in you.
They nurtured that in me. They
Very
also
important.
engaged me in so many athletic sports where I was consistently, actively competing and winning. I was a third place champion in ping pong, competitive Latin ballroom dancer, competitive swimmer, competitive volleyball athlete, touring all over the country. So I was busy with that. I was busy with playing with dirt. And now looking back, as I produce some of the biggest documentaries that stream on all the most popular streaming platforms, I was producing plays on my backyard because we were so bored, right? There was no screen.
What else can you do? Right,
What
I
else
get
can
it.
you do? So I was that person going around casting my friends, giving them lines, and then inviting the
love it.
parents. And
I
so
love it.
I've always been so passionate about life. And one thing that I'm so grateful for my parents is harnessing innocence, childlike dreaming that I still have till today.
It's most.
Yeah.
I think as a parent, it's my. I had so many issues
Yeah.
growing up. My father passed away suddenly at 16. He was my North Star.
Mm.
And my mother, we had a terrible relationship for many, our whole lives, really a very tough relationship. But one thing I'm so grateful for, she always said, you could be anything you want to be.
Mm.
You could be the president.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Mom, I don't want to be the president, but you could be the president.
It's so true.
You know what I mean? But, I ended up marrying a woman whose father basically said, you're going to have to work in a deli because you're going to get married to a guy and just be a housewife. And he, beat her down. And it's stunning to me that a parent can instill that kind of a thing in a daughter, in a child, right? It's like, so you're this pretty little girl in Armenia.
Yeah.
You grow up, nice childhood.
Yes.
What makes you come to America at 20?
Opportunities, interests. My older sister came for a work and travel program just to enhance her abilities to come back and get a better job because she was getting close to graduating college. So when she came back, she was like changed. She's like, she's seen something that we haven't seen.
Correct.
She would tell us stories about America. And so the following year, we both applied for our green card and we both came. And my parents were very...
So you came legally.
Yes,
you went
we
through the
came,
process. I'm
both
just,
of
it's a
us.
very big topic today.
It's
so.
very- oh.
And I have let my feelings be known.
Yeah.
And I'm taking some heat on it. But
No, I mean, my mother's the same way.
my
And her
parents came.
say, we all waited in
from
line.
Hungary and from Russia,
Yeah.
and they came to Ellis
Did it the
Island.
right way.
Correct. So, this is fascinating. So, what would life be in Armenia?
What would life be like?
If you stayed in Armenia,
I
there were
would-
20-year-old women that meet a local guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you were attractive, so you had
So
boys.
the thing was, I was an overachiever, even when I was in college. So I went to this very, very high-performing physics and math school. So my IQ was through the charts. So I entered the Yerevan State University economic department. My future was looking bright. I was already volunteering with UN, traveling with them. I went to Georgia for some volunteering work, and I was the president of my university's group. So I already knew this is too small for me. I wanted something bigger.
You wanted more for your life.
I wanted
You don't want to
more.
marry a local boy and just bang out some kids. And
Right. And again,
it could be a nice life.
right. So sometimes when America gets too much, I tell my husband, I was like, we should just go to Armenia for a summer and just disconnect because
How about a long weekend?
Life is so calm there, right?
Different,
Everybody
yeah.
has their stress still, right? Everyday
Yeah.
life stress, but they're able to balance somehow because we're very family oriented. Families meet with each other very often, just like Jewish families, just like Indian families. There's cultural things
Yes, 100%.
that are kept in these countries that actually maintain your longevity. Now that we're finding out the blue zones and stuff, so that always existed in my past. Here we actually dive into our progress and we don't have that balance. That's something I'd like to incorporate into our lives and do family things and traditions and routines of relaxations
Well,
and
I love
allow
the way how
ourselves.
you incorporate the children into your. We're going to get into
Absolutely.
that to your
Yeah.
business lives in an odd way.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's balance. I mean, time with children. A lot of men, super successful, busy businesses, capital money, more. They lose the valuable time with the kid. I tell you one thing, it goes very fast. I have 2 daughters, 25, and my baby's about to be 22.
Wow.
And it's just like, what happened? I mean, there were these little things. And, I was schlepping bassinets up and down the stairs of my beach house. Yeah. And the car seats and the pens, the play pens, all these different things.
Yeah.
And now they're like, Dad, chill down.
Well, we knew for us to work with each other, we had to work on dreams and goals and things together.
Well, I want to get to because you weren't born with that right? So in Armenia, but you seem to be very driven and this and that. Yeah. I think it's a fascinating love story. This little girl from Armenia, pretty competitive, all these different things, math and science. And then this wild man from Brooklyn.
Totally, but like a bobcat.
Right, and how you guys end up meeting. And anybody that doesn't believe in a God or higher power doesn't get it, I don't think.
It was preordained, I tell you.
It's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
What did he say to you? He said, I've been with 1,000 women. I want you.
He said many things.
I want to steal that line.
No, steal this one. You know how there's, people that are 1 in a million? I'm 1 in a lifetime.
He said that?
He said that. And I knew, it's so funny, right? Watching my father be at the top of his game as a math professor, always inviting people from Germany and Japan and doing conferences, publishing book, really high intelligence, boss level, right? My uncles owning businesses, being millionaires in Armenia, being congressmen. So men in my life have always worked for themselves and been leaders. So I knew that I have to be with a man that I respect, someone that is successful and respects themselves. But in America, especially in New York, it's hard to find a successful man that's not a playboy or
a player,
a jackass, right?
Right.
So when I met Anthony, his past told me everything, that he's probably a playboy. He's probably not good. And
definitely
we were friends.
Yeah.
And we were friends in the beginning. We were friends. We met because I was actually looking for a location to film my music video. And he said, you can film your music video in my house. It's actually been given to too many people. Like Spike Lee has filmed scenes in my backyard. 50 Cent has filmed a music video or a commercial in my backyard. It's pretty nice. It's a nice
where
location.
Where was this house?
Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. It was called the Lolli Mansion. Well,
you can Google it.
The story is,
yeah.
I was having a meeting with
I've actually heard of it.
You heard this?
Half of Bay Ridge worked for me. I had a big firm on Wall Street.
That's right. And so
now that you mention, I've actually heard. I can't believe it. And I've got you guys right here. Right now. That's how crazy life is, right?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Small world. I was having a meeting with a private equity company at a cafe. I didn't know who she was, but she was at the other table interviewing bandmates. She had a pop rock band and with violinists, all female band. And she caught my eye, but I was busy in the meeting. She was eavesdropping on the meeting. We were talking about royalty. She thought we were in the music business.
I got you.
So she's a good networker. And so when the meeting was over, it was me and my executive team. One of my COOs was sitting right next to me, and she was there, and she goes up to him. She goes, "Excuse me, are you guys in the music industry?" I leaped over him. I said, "Yes, we are."
He's like, "I got to make this handshake first."
Yeah, and so then she started articulating, "Hey, I'm looking for a set. I'm a musician. I'm an artist. Blah, blah, blah. I'm filming a music video. Do you know any locations? She's always like networking."
What year did you guys meet? What
2013. February 22nd.
This is 2013?
Yeah.
You just met in 2013?
Yeah. So we've been together for 12 years.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Wow. And did you know when you saw it?
That I never heard, I heard the expression love at first sight.
Yeah.
This was the time it struck me. Something struck me and said, this one's different. And I played this situation differently, unlike I would have normally done. I kept it friendship and professional platonic. In fact, so much so, I thought I was in the friend zone for a long time.
A mentor, I would say.
I was a
more
mentor,
trying to mentor
mentee.
me.
So basically, when I told her she can go to the house, I wasn't there. My mother had her own suite. That's how big the house was. She had her own suite. So
and that was a big defining moment for me to understand that, no, he's different. because he had his mother living.
That's
And he was
that's a
taking care
buy
of
signal if you're a
his mother.
woman.
And then
You got to figure out how to get rid of her, but that's, that's the next step.
No, actually, I always tell her if there was a mother-in-law award, you would get it. She
great.
understands how to keep it to herself. She understands how to just always stay positive. Just many, many things. Like she needs to write a book about how to be an amazing mother-in-law. And a lot of different cultures could learn from her and her behavior. But that's a different story. But when she opened the door to give me a tour of the house, that day changed everything.
I got it.
Changed everything to make me understand, this could be more than friendship. And, fast forward, we were dating and he told me all about the music industry, and I was just getting ready to sign a deal with Warner Brothers, and I was very passionate. I had already acted in a dozen independent movies. One was already on Netflix. I moved to New York. I was in a conservatory. I had my own band. Everything was happening the way I envisioned for my success. After I turned down my Deloitte and Touche job, I told my parents I got 3 years to become a hit artist or an actor or something. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to go get an accounting job and I'll climb the corporate ladder.
Right.
I'll be successful no matter what.
Chase your dreams first.
Totally.
You have a good backup.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but when we met, everything changed because obviously family values always were first in my core beliefs. So I left everything. We got married, had 2 kids, named our first child Love Lolli. The songwriter in me obviously titled her as a song title. And then the second child, Legend Lion Lolli, because how do you empower a man to be a legend, right? Put a name on it and he will become
Lion,
a legend.
is it Legend Lion?
Legend Lion Lolli.
I just love it. I just when I saw your children, when I first went on, it told me everything about you guys.
Thank you.
I want you to know that.
Thank
really. And see, I also would have loved to have those aggressive type names that are representative.
Sure.
But I married a girl who was more conservative, and
Yeah.
I got to pick the middle name.
But also we were having kids at the time where Northwest was already accepted. So it gave us the opportunity to think outside of the box. I think when we were looking for names.
I just think you guys are outside of the box thinkers in general.
Yes.
And I think that's why you're successful and you're fascinating, and I feel the energy, you know what I mean? You have like an aura about you guys, and it's very special.
Thank you.
This is really a privilege. So you guys, you go to New York and you're going to chase this dream. You're an artist, right? You're a
Yes.
singer, songwriter, dancer?
Songwriter, honestly,
performer.
whatever I want and put my mind to, I can become.
But at this
At
time in your
stage,
life,
I was gunning for being a recording artist.
Madonna, or the
Exactly.
next Madonna,
Exactly.
an icon, right? And you just were.
You
wanted capital, wealth, respect.
I had achieved a lot. I was already on my way towards an exit. So I was already in retirement mode, and I had an executive team.
You were too young for that. I retired twice in my life.
I know.
It's
Well,
not for me.
Well, here's what happened. So when we were in the dating stage, I was already pretty much the business was on autopilot.
Tell me about the first date. That to me.
The first real date when
Real
we
date
met?
when you kissed and all these different
Oh,
things.
yes.
well, that's-
that was
that's-
April 6th,
yeah.
2023.
You know the day.
I was, yes. So
Ladies, I hope
everything-
you're paying attention.
Everything happened in April. Both of our kids are born in April.
Aries,
First
what?
kiss in April, marriage, wedding in April. Everything is in April for us. It's crazy how it
Interesting.
happens. So I had a concert, an Armenian fundraising concert. And as he was already mentoring me about the music industry, I said, hey, I'd like for you to come and really critique me as hard as you can. Like, I want you to talk to me about my stage presence. Because I knew this guy is more than just a real estate tycoon. Like, he observes life in a different way. He understands hip hop. He understands just pop culture in general. He has his finger on the pulse of everything in life. And I love that. And so I said, just come to this concert, watch me, and critique the crap out of me, because I love it. It gives me more power.
In Armenia.
No. It was in New York.
Central Park. Central Park.
In New York.
It was an Armenian concert.
I got you.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so I had a real estate friend, a female,
Yeah.
who is an Armenian. And Armenians are very cliquey to
Very
each other.
clanny, yes.
So she was like almost a best friend. And I said, listen, I met this Armenian girl with 3 months mentor-mentee. I don't want to cross the line. I don't know if she likes me, doesn't like. There's no signals.
talking about your wife?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I said, come with me.
There's no signals.
There's no signal. All
Interesting.
professional.
I was
We would meet for
headstrong.
coffee. It would be mentor-mentee. And I didn't want to cross that line because that's not how the relationship started. But I started feeling maybe there's something here. She didn't show me any inkling that she was dating anyone. She was really focused on
Yeah.
You were single?
single.
Oh,
But like really, so you weren't dating? You weren't going out with guys? What about you? You
To
didn't
me,
have
that
a lot
was a
of
waste
women?
of
I
time.
had.
Boy, I think it's crazy.
that's what it is. He was not desperate to find the one.
No,
Right.
In
definitely
fact, he
not.
was like just living his life
Right.
and dating and happy. I was living my life disciplined and happy. I would never even go out because that, if you go to a bar, you're talking loud, it's bad for your vocal cords. So it's very disciplined.
Wow.
No
Yeah,
dating.
Thoughtful
Not at all.
woman.
Very
Wow.
thoughtful. So we were both very happy with where we were in our lives. We weren't looking for that kind of relationship until that day when I was performing and he came with the Armenian woman.
Yeah. So I staged it, right? So what happened was she never liked to go out to restaurants or bars or loud places. So going out at a place at night was out of the question. However, this night was different because she was in a concert and I brought in Armenia and said, listen, let's go. You guys will hit it off. Find out if there's anything there. Does she like me? And I said, let's go to a steakhouse. In those steakhouses in New York that turn into nightclubs at night.
Which place?
Oh,
It was in Astoria.
Yeah,
I
I forget the name of
In
the
Queens,
place.
historically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
it's a restaurant and steakhouse, and then at like around 10, 11 o'clock, the music turns
a
on.
party, right,
A
right.
party.
And I'm over
So-
here, like, I want to go because, I'm starting to hear myself start talking louder. But this woman, the Armenian woman, was sitting on the board of certain things, and I forgot, but I had reached out to her before that day to try to connect with the Armenian successful people. So for me, it was like, oh my gosh.
He delivers her right there.
It's her.
Right.
So I'm talking to her, I'm excited, and he's there. He judged the crap out of my performance, which was all I wanted. And then we started.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
He held nothing back.
I love it.
But I love it. Until today, we have that relationship. I will tell him everything that I think is not right, and he'll tell me everything that is not right also. And we take each other's criticism because we started off that way. And we don't get sensitive about it, right? We know he means the best for me, and he knows
loves
I
you.
mean the best for him.
You love him, exactly.
Yeah. So we were talking and everything, and as soon as the restaurant transitioned into the club, he invited me to a dance, and I'm like, oh boy, like this is crazy. I haven't dated in so long.
Well, you're missing the part before. What happens is
Oh yeah, she pulled me aside.
she pulled her aside. She goes, Anthony likes you. Because I like him too. No, he likes you.
Oh.
And then they
that'd be
had
clever.
so then
That was it. Then now
it didn't dawn
How
on her
convenient.
either because I wasn't giving her any signals at
Yeah.
all either.
Yeah.
So it was like both of us were not giving each other any signals
like a
of
real
any
poker player, Anthony,
Yeah,
huh?
it was, and then
chess
yeah,
all the way, baby.
Yeah.
Because you did like
Even
her,
though
right?
my
Yeah,
son
yeah.
can beat him in chess right now, but in life, this guy's the biggest chess player.
And so then
love
that
that.
was it. So we shared our first kiss on the dance floor
kissed
of
you.
that night. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And I kissed him back.
yeah.
That's the
Never-
kiss
It was
for a man.
mutual. I already had a soft spot, and I had massive respect for him.
Right.
Massive respect, massive just gratitude because I had no mentorship in this big New York and this wild
It's
world
a scary
of
place, New
entertainment.
York. you
Very
know.
scary.
I was at home there because I grew up there. And I knew
Yeah.
a million people, and it was
Yeah.
just like my spot since I was 12 years old. I'd go by myself on the
Yeah.
train
Of
from Long Island
Yeah.
and just hang out in New York. I was 12 years old. I'd look back. I'd kill my parents had no idea what I was doing.
I look at my life too, and I think, would I ever allow my daughter
Never.
to live that life? Never.
kidding.
But my mom, I adore her. She just lives on prayers. She sent us to America, 2 daughters, on prayers. That's how godly and God-fearing and God-believing she is. She gave us the gift of freedom, and she was strong enough to let us go. She raised us independent of her. She always was like not selfish, very selfless, thinking I have to raise you to be able to let go of me, not depend on me.
She
That's such a key.
trusts God.
She trusts God, and she also trusts herself as a mom, that she was able to let go
Right.
of us and know that we will be okay.
To me, that's what real love is, to be honest.
Real love, so unconditional.
You have to let people
Okay.
go.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing to do.
The hardest thing
you
to
love
do.
them, and it's almost possession and all these things. And
Yeah, but I think also because you were in bodybuilding, right? And
Yeah.
so one of the things that we learned when you hit the stage, it's already the work was already done.
Correct.
In the gym. The
Yeah.
stage is like so it's like
Just like raising a child,
Just
you
like
say.
the
I
work
get
was
it.
already done throughout the years. Like them leaving was going to the stage. So if you did the work right, you're gonna win.
Still, but New York's a scary place.
yeah.
And,
It's so
and
scary.
Armenia, little
Yeah.
place, like a village, right?
Yeah.
Boca's like a little village, and New York is like, holy moly.
Yeah.
And I understand it's changed for the worse, but hopefully things are
Yeah.
going to start writing now.
I
And I know
think
you
so.
guys were at the inauguration, right? And all
Yeah, we were invited to actually an exclusive invitation for Bobby Kennedy at the Maha Ball. So we were the media team.
Make America healthy again.
Yeah.
Now, you're part of this movement.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I am so excited to talk about
Very
it.
exciting.
Well,
Very
you know, we
exciting.
have a joke. We joke around with Del Bigtree. And I said, you start Maha now. I was Maha 10 years ago.
That's
it was
correct.
Make Anthony healthy again.
I
And he
love
was
it. Wow.
laughing.
Listeners,
Yeah.
now, at the time you're on the dance floor
Yes.
at the steakhouse in Astoria,
Yeah,
and you guys have a magic moment, right? You kiss. That's
Yeah.
really,
that was it.
that's like a defining moment in both your lives, right?
Sure.
That one moment. I remember the first time I kissed my wife for the first time.
Yeah.
The difference is I was chasing her around, and she was going like this, stay away. And then I gave up, and she's like, "You still want to kiss me?" I said, "Is that a trick question?"
That's very
That's
funny.
what happened.
But you know what? Most successful marriages happen when the woman also stands her ground to make that choice.
100%.
I understand the man makes, the decision to chase and be visible choice and be that.
Like, I let her
one.
know I'm
You
in.
let her know I'm here and
He
I
played his cards very differently. He's much
Yeah.
more sophisticated than I am.
Yeah.
I'm telling
But
you.
I'll tell you something. It wasn't easy, right? In the beginning also, because here is Brooklyn's biggest playboy.
Now, I got a question. Was he
Yeah.
big in those days? When I
Oh,
mean
yeah.
big, was he 300 pounds?
315
Yeah,
pounds.
315.
When he kissed you that night on the dance
Yeah.
floor, he was
Yeah,
300.
yeah.
Could he move?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
He could
Look,
still
he
move.
I was
carried himself.
fatletic.
And by the way, he was so retired that the first year of our dating, we were at the Hamptons doing water sports. We were traveling to Europe, always doing some sports, playing pickleball, whatever.
Really?
And yeah, and he was always
Even though
hanging
he was
with me.
over 3.
Yeah.
I mean, how tall are you?
5'8".
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not a tall
Yeah, no,
guy.
not
300
He would
pounds is
carry
a lot.
himself so
I was
confidently.
230, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so big. It's crazy.
It was
Yeah.
so funny because when I lost weight, all of our friends are like, I didn't look at you as fat because I
Yeah.
carried it like the way
how you
Tony
carry yourself.
Soprano,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know what
yeah.
I mean? It was like that type of deal.
Husky, a big guy.
Husky, yeah.
But the truth is, you're very trim.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
really
you.
trim.
Thank you.
But
But
I
I'll
see you're
tell you-
thick. You know.
Thank you. Yeah.
3 months into us dating, when we were already, definitely comfortable with each other, I was like, "Hey, I'm going to get my blood work. You should come too." So I started my, thing.
Her due diligence.
Because we recognize we're gonna have a family. Because I'm not dating to not get married. Like this is it.
Oh boy.
She didn't
So-
want to have kids with a bad gene pool.
I
And
don't
the way
blame her.
she's looking at me eating like a maniac, pizza and all of this bad. And I was a drinker too.
Standard
Jack and
American,
Coke.
yeah.
I know.
It's so terrible that we can't eat pizza.
But
Yeah.
Jack and Cokes every night, business dinners,
Mozzarella
steakhouses,
sticks.
butter,
Right.
seed oil. I mean, you name
Everything,
it.
food colorings, and I'm very aware of all of this.
Even then.
Even then, I was
You
a
always
true
like this?
biohacker. Yeah, I always understood grounding, doing this, eating healthy. One thing was the issue with me. I was continuing my healthy eating habits from Armenia to here without understanding about the glyphosates and how healthy
Fresh food
food
in Armenia,
was
right?
also
Fresh right from the garden,
poisoned
literally,
here.
they grow it, right?
So my next level, understanding came during the Biohack Yourself documentary filming that, wow, the healthy lifestyle as I knew it in Armenia was definitely not the same healthy lifestyle here. So it's a whole different thing. But at that time, very health conscious, start taking him to blood work, start taking him to bone density.
What was in the blood work? What were we looking for? I'm just
Everything. I just wanted to
I
understand
understand
what's his
that, but
markers.
trust me when
Does
I
he have
tell
a
you.
fatty liver? Does he have kidney disease? Does he have
Right,
diabetes?
right.
That
Am I
he's-
getting
yeah,
in
am
bed
I
with a
getting in
problem
trouble?
here?
And I wasn't gonna let him go because he was in trouble. I just stuck with it. I was like, look, you have a tiny little fatty liver. We have to address it. We're gonna do it this way.
When did you know you loved him?
I think 3 months in, when
After the kiss. The kiss started something.
yeah, the kiss started something.
So you liked him a lot at that
yes,
point.
but I think it was the 3 months period.
Prior, it was a 3 months mentor-mentee relationship.
Right.
We would meet up
I
at
think
cafes.
at that time I had high respect for him. But the love word that I was like, I want to do everything for this man. I want to fight for him.
Right.
I want to get him better. I want to have kids with him. That was 3 months into us being a couple.
Right.
We had a moment where we actually broke up 3
What?
months in. And the fight that I put up at that time to get us back made me recognize that I love him.
You loved him.
Because, yeah, what is love, right? Love is so... It's a crazy kind of meaning. I know I love my kids because like I've raised them from the moment I know them. It's unconditional, self-giving,
They come from you,
self-sacrificing
from your
thing.
belly. Before
But
you
how
ever
do
met them, you loved them.
Right, but how do you love a man that you just met? You're dating for 3 months. He's taking you
Right.
out, and he's showing you his best self. obviously. And he's like a marketing genius. So this guy, I'm like, he could be playing me right now. So I was very intelligent to understand. I could be being played. He could also have other girlfriends. I don't know his life. And it was that moment where we broke up for a brief, maybe 24 hours, right?
Still, you thought of life without him for a minute.
Exactly. And at that time, I put up the fight. And I was like, look, I think we love each other. This is what it means to love each other. I don't want to be without you. And he's like, and I don't want to be without you. And that was the moment. That was the moment that kind of just solidified everything. And then there comes the engagement, and then, you know, the marriage and everything else followed very fast. Me moving in.
Because you didn't want to just be your girlfriend, right? You were thinking, if I'm going to do this, I love him.
That expedited everything. He even came to
What
Armenia.
did Beyonce
put a ring
say?
on it, yeah.
Put a ring on it. I love that song. I love that whole thing, right?
Of course.
He put a ring on it.
If I was a woman, I'd be going like this to everybody.
Yeah.
He said, what do you want?
That's it. That's
Right?
it. Yeah.
He brought me, we came to the living room, and he proposed to me right at the door of the living room. And he's like, you know, I want the best memories to be right here for when you enter this house.
He's a romantic guy at heart.
Yeah. I literally very expeditiously, I moved in. He comes to Armenia to do his due diligence. He's like, now you know everything about me.
Oh, you went to
Blood
see the
work,
family.
heart
Mother
rate.
with
Yeah,
me.
him and his mom, the auditors.
You brought your mother with you.
Yeah.
They came.
I mean, this is
The
a
gang.
great story.
Yeah, we met the whole
We're
family.
very intelligent, very intentional.
Thorough, very
even
thorough, very
even-
I love
This is
it.
our life. This is our life. We were just having a conversation with our daughter, and we had to open up to her. Like, you may spend far longer time with your husband than you're spending with us.
Of course.
And it hit us too. Like, we're almost 12, 13 years in, and I spend 20 years with my father, and we're approaching that even time with my husband. So it's so important to choose the right man, right?
It's the single most important thing you can do. And I've seen that lately on social media. I just always knew that.
Yeah.
I was a real player.
Yeah.
Terrible. Made a lot of money, stock market, you know, making crazy money every month, every day, whatever, you know, on demand. And, you know, I didn't ever get engaged once. I have friends that were married, divorced 3 times. I had very serious girlfriends, you know, but I also played around. But I knew I was unfit to be a husband, a father, all these things. And finally I got ready, and I was ready, and I said, God, what's going on here? You know, because I can't find a woman that I felt was, you know, worthy. Like I also thought about, you know, who am I going to breed with? You know, what do I want my children to be like, etc. And then she walked in my business one day. This 22-year-old, beautiful, gorgeous, blue-eyed blonde with a high voice, you know, like a cartoon character. I love it. And so, you know, I got engaged at 40. I got married at 41, and I became a father at 42.
Wow.
And then again at 46. And I probably would have had 2 more, but the government sort of put a claim on my life for a long time with just, you know, really a terrible story. But I love this story, and you're both thoughtful, and you're both productive, and you're both intelligent. You're winners. I mean, you check every box, I think. Thank you. And your eyebrows, I got to say something. 'Cause, you know,
It's nice.
You know, I have 2 daughters. You know, what are you doing? It's eyebrow day. All right.
Ah, this is the first time I'm getting eyebrow
I got to go to like
compliment.
Palm Beach because my eyebrow girl, I won't let anyone else touch my eyebrows. I'm
Actually,
like,
I do my eyebrows myself, by the way.
well, they're fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
But you understand as a woman, this whole eyebrow thing.
He's such a girl dad.
Yeah, he
I
is,
really,
yeah.
you know,
Funny.
yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
so funny.
And what a privilege too. You know, what a privilege. But all right, so now you're still in Brooklyn. You got properties, and now you have a woman.
Yeah.
It changed your life.
Changed my life significantly. Made me fast forward official retirement. You know, I was kind of like halfway, and then I started leaning more towards exiting the business, because even though you have C-suite executives running it, it still calls you whenever the emergencies come. It's a 5-alarm fire that comes to you. Not
People used to say to me when I was CEO, they'd say, "Who are you? What do you do?" I'd walk around all these guys, you know, at different the finest hotels in the world. I'm meeting all the clients flying in. And I'm like, I basically I just deal with problems.
Right.
I wake
That's
up
it.
every morning and I have to
Yeah.
get people out of jams and troubles and problems.
That's what it is.
And all these different things.
And
It's
so, you know, I always built my companies to sell, so I found an opportunity to exit. And then when I sold the company, it was great, but then my excuse to her as to why I couldn't get in shape was always, I'm busy with the business. I was very,
That was my excuse.
that was the excuse. So
I work too hard. I can't take the stress. I just got
and
to
so here's what happened. She was so much on my back about getting healthy before we had kids that I went ahead and did something drastic because there was a lot of family interventions. It was like, look, you met this beautiful woman. She wants to start a family. You're lucky you don't have any health issues, but you can't live like this. Being 350.
Your mom says,
my mom
eat
is
something.
like,
Yeah, that's their answer. Eat something.
Right.
It gives a
And
mother
so-
comfort when you feed your kids.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to always take my kids out to eat. I don't know why, but it's like I want to feed them. They weigh
so-
110 pounds.
So I ended up doing something drastic, which I kind of regret, and then I don't regret. I did a gastric sleeve surgery.
Did you?
I did a gastric sleeve surgery. I lost 50 pounds almost immediately,
Very
but then I
unhealthy, though.
gained 70. I got fatter and I lost muscle.
Yeah.
So it actually made me trigger sleep apnea. It started bringing more problems to my body. And now I was in a situation where I was getting hospitalized. So I lost the weight, but then I gained the weight back.
right.
I didn't fix the problem mentally of my eating.
You're an emotional eater, would you say?
He
Emotional
wanted an
eating.
easy way out.
Right. So then I was in a worse situation.
Yeah.
Now the problem was, how do I stay healthy? Like, how do I not die from this whole mistake? And then I was getting fatter, and I wasn't able to eat real food, so I was drinking my calories.
Right. I had a lot of guys, I owned a brokerage from a bank. I had a lot of men that did the gastric thing.
Right.
I have one guy that ate through it.
Yeah.
I literally ate through it.
Well, that's what
Went to
happened.
the
I
hospital, almost
expanded
died.
my stomach out again. So now she's like, what are you going to do? And I said, just leave me alone. I'm going to die fat and happy. This is it. This is what. So she.
I've used that line.
Yeah.
We had a joke.
I've used that line.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
He had a joke. He's gonna die with the mac and cheese in his mouth.
Yeah.
That was his joke.
And
What's
so-
what's better than mac and cheese? I mean, it's so comforting.
So TereZa is
So
also a chess player. Okay, she started when we had kids. She upped the ante. Now we put our kids in acting and modeling because she has that background. I have the entertainment background. So now the kids are getting booked. Our daughter especially. She's on the box
Nonstop.
of
2 weeks
Pampers,
old, she was
acting.
booking.
And you're taking her around.
She's taking her around.
Casting,
but now,
auditions, managers,
when you're
everything.
doing commercial work, like you're in the back of a car seat in a Mercedes commercial, or you're in a stroller commercial, you want the mother and you want a father. They cast the mother. The father is not me. There's another man there.
Oh,
I'm too fat to
So
play my
that was
own
when-
kid's father.
That was when Legend was born. And he was a bit of a difficult sleeper and all of that. And by the way, the biohacking whole thing started from him. But aside from that, he started his acting thing. Like, I put his pictures and I was booking him and Love. And that was the moment, because he wouldn't let me sleep. Legend wouldn't let me sleep. Just no sleep.
Was he colicky? Is that what they call it?
He had a silent acid reflux.
Okay.
I will tell you the story of what I discovered later on. But just to back up to the acting, here he is about 3 months old, not sleeping at all for 3 months straight. I'm delusional. I'm up every 20 minutes, and all I could hear him snoring so hard and then stopping to
snoring?
breathe.
He's snoring?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
The sleep
And
apnea,
he
all
would
that.
stop breathing for extended
Right,
amount
that's
of
what
time.
happens.
And here I'm thinking the airflow to his
CPAP
brain is
machine
going
and
to
all these different things.
That was it for me. And I just had to put my foot down at that time. So I made a dream board photo. I'm very visual. I make dream boards. We make dream boards until today. I photoshopped his head on a very muscular body from Google, and I slapped it everywhere, wherever he spends most time, right?
so
Ceiling,
brilliant.
bathroom,
Yeah, she
everywhere. I was like, what if he just sees the end result
That is so
of
brilliant.
a forever result?
If I could see it, I could do it.
Right.
That's how
And
my
it's
life.
she
not
also-
anymore chasing calories.
Yeah.
It's chasing the final
Right,
vision.
the vision.
And it worked. A month later, he attracted somehow through his research the coach called Mike Fatboy Slim. And he's talking to this guy. He's talking, and he's really
Is
great
this the
at
guy that died?
No, that's my other coach.
Oh,
that's
okay.
my
Okay.
physical
This
trainer.
one was
I
the
watched that. I was
nutritionist.
like,
The
I
Irish
was like
guy.
hooked.
The Irish
I was
guy.
like,
Yeah,
what
it
the
was very
hell?
sad.
Yeah.
But the Irish guy ends up moving to our house,
living with us. Yeah.
living with
Now,
us for
where
about
was this
9
now?
months.
Now, are you in
Bay
Florida
Ridge.
No,
now?
we're still in
Still in
Bay
Bay
Ridge,
Ridge.
still in our home. I'm managing the kids. I'm going through my whole homeopathic journey with my son for a year. He's in the gym with this guy losing the weight. So like it was the hardest year of our entire relationship, the hardest. Because I'm waking up, I don't know what's going on with our son.
can't even. Yep.
So starting at 5 months, 5 months old, I started taking him to doctors. I'm like, something's up. He's not sleeping. Because I was spoiled with our daughter. She would sleep 6-hour long sessions, sleep in, wake up very
Easy kid
calm.
is the greatest thing in the world.
Right. So I go to 7 doctors, including NYU Langone, including very reputable hospitals, doctors, sleep studies. They hooked him up with machines. We slept over there in the NYU Langone.
I know the whole thing.
Everything you could think about, blood work, stool test, this test. And 7 doctors telling me complete different diagnosis, potential autism, restless leg syndrome, on the spectrum, Lyme disease. And it's like, what is happening?
They just don't fucking know shit.
They don't know.
I hate to say
And they're
it.
not even aligned. I'm like, wait a minute. They go to the same practices. They go through the same system.
You'd think.
They
You would
don't
think.
understand that.
No clue.
Yeah.
Clue. I never met more clueless people than doctors.
Right.
That was it. He was almost 13 months old at that time. I said, I'm going the other way around, alternative way. And at that time, again, he's losing weight. I'm by myself, managing Love, managing Legend in their booking absolutely everything. And I'm going seeing this homeopath, that functional medicine doctor, understanding the lay of the land. I don't know biohacking word or the world yet, but I know there's alternative doctors.
Correct.
So I ended up seeing about 20 of this. I just went bonkers. I'm like, I'm going to get all these ideas, all this diagnosis.
This knowledge.
to understand.
This knowledge.
It's a puzzle.
You're getting data. You're getting data. You're getting
By the
data.
way,
Data.
because of my relationship in the politics world, in the business world, access to top level people was easy. But for a normal person, most of those people are booked and busy. If you're really good, you don't have time on your calendar, especially if you're a legitimate doctor saving lives.
Yeah.
They can't see you till 6 months if you're lucky.
At the same time, I was buying audiobooks by Steve Gundry, by Tom O'Brien, and all these
know all
people. I'm
those
listening.
names, right.
5 a.m. in the morning, I'm up, and that was his wake-up call, Tom O'Brien's voice and Steve Gundry's voice.
5 in the morning?
Yeah.
That was his morning. But I got so educated, and I put the pieces of the puzzle together to a point where I got this homeopath who was very available over text message. She was more like underground, more through the referral. Her name is Nina. I still talk to her to this day, and she still comes in and out and helping us with protocols. But what happened was she gave me a protocol. I was like, okay, but what is in the protocol? She laid out every single item that she's mixing in this herbal concoction that she's going to give to my son. Turned out he had a mold infection we had in the HVAC system because our secretary forgot to clean the HVAC system. And
It's not uncommon. I hate
It's
to
not
say
uncommon.
it. I've heard
And-
these stories.
and our son has the MTHFR gene mutation, which basically prevents you from doing your own detox properly. That was it. He's not autistic. He doesn't have Lyme disease. He doesn't have any of these
Thank
things.
God.
And, if they gave him the medication that they were going to give him for the conditions that were prescribing, he would have turned autistic. Because later on we discovered he has 2 copies of MTHFR. There was no way he could have absorbed the liquid iron that they were prescribing.
That's what they were trying to give him, liquid iron?
That's what they were giving him.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, so fast forward, the homeopath gives me the protocol. I take that protocol to 5 others that I've seen and I connected with, and I said, I'm not going with you because the way to get a hold of you is complicated. I have to email you. I have to make an appointment. This woman texts me, available. My son is only 13. Can you just look at her protocol and tell me if this is legit?
What you think, right?
What you think. All 5 of them approved. They said, this is comprehensive. This will detox him and flush him out. Go with her. We went with her. 6 months later, the lights went on to my son. Like, he was a different child. And moving from there, we've been blessed.
And that's like the beginning of the biohacking.
That's the
it.
beginning.
That was the
I love
beginning.
that.
Yeah.
So I've heard this term biohacking, and I'm
Yes.
going to tell you to this night, I have no fucking idea what it means. It's a cool word.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's a trendy kind of thing,
Yeah.
right? And if you look at a graph, imagine it looks like going up a ski slope. It's in the world today, and
Yeah.
you guys are sort of the foremost authority
Yes.
in this arena. I'm
Yes.
going to say that, everybody, because I have now become a student of this whole thing, and this
Yeah.
is where a guy like me belongs. I've been biohacking my whole life.
Yes.
I was a very successful single Wall Street guy, stockbroker, CEO, deal guy, trade, all these different things. And, I took over 100 companies public. I don't know if you
Right.
guys know that.
Wow.
I was the
I
first
didn't know
American
that.
to bring a regulated American business public on the London Stock Exchange. They said it was impossible. I did it twice before anybody did it once. The second time I raised $1 billion, and I bought like 8 different companies,
Yeah,
and then I
yeah.
took that public
Wow.
so the world could see my performance. I wanted it in the newspaper every day, all these different things.
Wow.
And what I didn't, I'm what they call a disruptor. But what happened was I didn't realize I was disrupting somebody's easy money in Lower Manhattan.
Right.
And they
The
put a hit
natural
on
order
me.
of
They put a
things,
hit on, they
of
said I
course.
cost Lower Manhattan $100 billion.
Wow.
Because after I went public the second time in London, 200 companies followed this footprint that I created. And everybody started going public overseas, wherever there was a stock exchange.
You were like the Napster.
Correct.
Of your era.
And the government came after me because...
Like they did with Napster, yeah.
Right. Someone in Lower Manhattan put a hit on me. Instead of me, bending over... First they tried to buy me. So
Right.
Barclays Bank offered me $300 million.
Oh, wow.
And even before that, I spent a year with every agency of the government, from the IRS to the EPA to SEC to FINRA, all coming in and doing audits of my firm all of a sudden. And, I was a high-profile type of guy because of what happened in the 80s. I was a drug addict, I was an alcoholic, and I was a really big producer.
Right.
And people would cover for me like these athletes that get in trouble. Then I got clean in 1990. And so there was a change in my life. So, I understand to be a disruptor, and biohacking is going to be very disruptive, I believe, to the medical world.
Yeah.
Because I'm convinced, I was in prison. We had no medical help whatsoever. Everything is, you got to biohack in an odd way, right? Figure out how to,
That's right.
heal yourself. You can't get medicines. You can't get antibiotics.
I
It's
never
like
thought of it. Wow.
you're dying, and unless you're literally half dead, they take
Right.
you to the hospital, and the warden runs after the ambulances. Don't check them in. I've seen men die.
Sure.
Men like Lou Pearlman, the founder of NSYNC and the boy bands.
Right.
They killed him.
That was recently, yeah.
Yeah, in prison, and the members of the BOP called a meeting and said, "We killed him."
Wow.
They acknowledged it. We killed him. They said, "You better have somebody watch your back in here because we ain't going to do anything for you."
Yeah.
Right. So you sort of learn how to make do because your will and your intellect and your love for your son.
Yeah.
You could have just hired some lady to take care of him all night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But no, you wanted to get to the bottom of this. This is why you're such a great couple. I mean,
Well, look, in simple terms, we're already being hacked. Our bodies are already being
let's talk
hacked.
about what this all means. Tell me where does biohack come from?
Well,
What do you mean?
biohacking is a term, and we interviewed the father of biohacking, Dave Asprey. That's our magazine, by the way.
Biohack Yourself.
That's right. That's
and we
the
say,
whole
go
point.
biohack yourself.
I go biohack.
That's
the
right.
call to action.
Call to
I
action.
love it.
'Cause you
I
can
want
do
you to
it
see
yourself.
Available in retail stores.
Retail stores, online,
Amazon? Where else can we get it?
everywhere. Just
Tell
go
me
to
exactly where.
biohackyourself.com. Go to Barnes & Noble.
Well,
go
if
to
you
Publix.
just went to biohackyourself.com,
That's it,
you can subscribe, and then you can.
You'll get
I
it.
follow
can
this
get
now on
all of it, yeah.
Instagram. I'm
Instagram, yeah.
covering. You guys have a
Yeah.
lot of different things.
A lot of
Yes.
things related to
So
snooze,
where
latest
does the
discoveries.
word biohack? Because now it's
Well, Dave-
cool people are starting to use that word.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
cool.
So Dave Asprey, right? He's the father of biohacking. He created the word biohacking.
Great word.
Right. What a great word. But what he essentially did is that was like a clarion call for all the functional medicine people, the herbalists and the homeopaths, all the alternative medicine people to come and join under one umbrella to allow your body to heal itself.
To like improve the human condition. Is that what it really is?
Improve, allow your body to heal, really introduce the natural methods, but also introduce the high-tech methods that are available that mimic the nature. For example, the grounding mats, right?
Right.
You can just go barefoot and stand
Does
next
it really
to a
work,
tree.
the grounding? Yeah.
It does. So
You
our
ever
cells...
you ever go outside and put your
all the
feet?
time. all day.
Absolutely.
I'm just asking.
All
I don't
day.
know.
I'm just asking.
I've been nervous about it because
Oh,
I'm
you gotta
worried
do it.
about bugs and ants,
No,
red ants
no,
in
no,
Florida, all these
no.
different things.
That's okay. I mean, our kids were actually very apprehensive, but now they don't care about the
So I
ants.
should go get a few minutes a day.
When you're on the
Absolutely. Next
phone-
to a tree base is
Yeah.
the best grounding.
I have
Next
that,
to a
I have
tree
that
base.
available to me.
Yeah.
So
all
what's
the time.
happening with grounding, right? Your cells, because we're so just stagnant, right? We're not as active as before. Everything is being done for us. So our cells, they start clamping up with each other. Actually, Dr. David Minkoff, he has a test. He pricks your finger, he checks your blood, and it shows the blood cells. If your blood cells are nice, round, and separate, you're healthy. Most of the blood cells are clamped up,
Clumpy.
and it's not good. When you
Terrible.
do the grounding mat, or you're actually barefoot grounding, your cells start to separate, and then
Circulation,
they
everything.
regain their
The
functionality.
body works best in movement. I've learned that
Exactly.
in my life.
So
That's very
adds,
true.
It adds movement to your cells.
Every day you want to
okay.
get your,
Yes.
your blood markers and your panel all on an even level. It's the water you take in. It's the EMFs you're taking in or not taking. A lot of
What
it
is
is
EMFs?
like cell phone,
electromagnetic field.
electromagnetic,
that can't be
all
good
that
for
kind
us,
of
right?
stuff.
I'm on the phones, all these different
And
things.
if you're indoors all day and you're not getting the sun, you're missing that vitamin intake, so you might want to supplement it with red light. So all these things are mainly how to unhack what's already hacking your body.
And accommodate our modern life,
Right.
while still being able to work in the offices.
So these
and-
grounding mats actually work, in your opinion?
yes.
They do.
Should
A
I
lot
order
of
one?
things work.
You could
Hydrogen
sit in, like right now you could
therapy.
be sitting on a grounding
Yeah.
mat or in the office.
And your cells are actually
Your
working
cells.
and getting activated
That's
while
it.
you're
I
sitting.
understand. Interesting.
It's like a little charge that you're normally supposed to get.
I
every day.
try it. I try everything.
Yeah,
It makes
yeah.
sense. I do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I check
It's
it
not
out.
a visible effect, but it does work.
You're gonna
They've done
feel
the
it.
testing.
If
might
you're
feel it.
testing and not guessing, and you're like,
Yeah.
we'll introduce you to a functional medicine. You want to know what your blood markers are, and you want to get them
What do
to.
you mean by that, blood markers? Like, hey, blood tests?
No, those
this
are
is-
regular.
these
I
are
worry about
regular.
testosterone and growth hormone.
Everything,
you know,
everything.
Yeah.
all those things.
All the
Functional
things.
medicine doctors allow you to understand way deeper in your blood
Right.
markers, internal blood cell levels, white blood counts, and stuff like that, than just the
Right.
regular blood work.
Hemoglobin, all these different things.
All
Yes.
that stuff.
In
And-
depth, understanding the
Do
correlation
you give
of what's
blood?
going
Is
on.
that part of what you do? You give
Yeah,
blood every
yeah,
few months?
yeah, we do, yeah.
I
We
should
don't
do that more.
donate though. We don't.
No, we don't donate, but we
but
get rid of blood.
Yes,
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 Yeah.
yes. So
Look,
your body
I think
keeps
every
creating
It's a
six
lot
months,
like this
yeah.
podcast room, right? Every piece of equipment is down to the tune, to the audio, the everything. And the same thing with your body. You got to fine tune your body. So there's getting it to where it's supposed to be, and then there's optimizing it.
I love all that, yes. I'm
That's the
an
next
optimizing type
level.
of guy.
We're at the brain optimization. That's why we're working with Dr. Daniel Amen and all the other brain optimization specialists. The biggest factor.
Go biohack yourself.
Yeah.
The biggest factor, Ross, I tell you, was the brain optimization.
Mm-hmm.
Because you take care of the head.
Yeah.
The head makes all the decisions. The body will follow.
But
Governs
also
the
to
body.
create the condition, right? The anti-inflammatory system where the optimization can
Do you
work.
guys take peptides?
Everything.
Yes.
Everything.
BP 157?
All of that.
Yes, that's for
You
leaky
take
gut.
141?
We've
We
tried
don't,
it. Well, we
actually.
haven't. Well, we've tried
We
it,
do
but
the
we're
157.
157.
Be chasing them around the house.
Yeah, we do a lot of the brain optimization.
I love that.
The nose
All the
sprays.
neuro stuff.
C-Max.
I bought it for,
We
you know, Joe
love-
Rogan sells that.
Yes.
I order that,
Yes,
the black.
yes.
We
but
love
the thing
hydrogen
about it is,
therapy, too.
we don't take anything that's not specific to our DNA. So you can take a DNA
Did
test.
you have that like Gary Breckus?
Yeah,
wants that
he's
test?
in our. By the way, he's in our Shield documentary.
Yeah.
He's the next cover of Biohack Yourself
Yeah.
magazine.
I love
Yeah.
the Shield.
Yeah.
Shield
What a
documentary
brilliant
was
friggin'
it.
name.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you
yeah.
guys
She
are really
healed.
Yeah.
marketing people. She
Yeah,
healed.
She healed. So this is how
I
it
hope you're all
started.
paying attention.
We were filming the biohack. Okay, so let's go back, right? So we filmed Fat Lolli to Six
Slow
Pack
down,
Lolli.
slow down. So
Oh.
we have your son.
Yes.
Oh,
Your son,
he's
he's
keeping
what,
track.
13 months old or whatever
He's
it was?
13
He's
months old.
not sleeping through the night, and
Yes.
you know, he's got all kinds of little issues, and
Yes.
you know, as a parent, you're afraid.
Yeah.
You're afraid. Is he on the spectrum? That's
They
like a
said
new
that.
thing. I know. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. It's like, why do like, you know, these kids have certain things like crib death. I used to go every day to the crib and say, "Oh God, please." I used to pray.
And when we were
Yeah.
dating,
You know-
I was donating to autism causes before we had kids. Remember,
Yeah.
you would come with
I
me.
have friends,
And we got friends,
autistic
billionaire
children.
friends of
a lot of
ours.
friends.
With autistic kids, it ruins the whole entire life.
Well, it becomes your life.
It becomes your life. It's a sad thing.
It is. It's God's will. I don't know what it is. Bobby Kennedy. You're part of
Yeah.
this whole movement.
Yeah.
I do believe all this craziness with these vaccines and everything else. I mean, I was in prison and they made me get a Johnson & Johnson vaccine. There was 30 of us. They made us do it. You had no choice.
Yeah.
You know, you're in their custody, your chattel, your property.
Yeah.
One of the guys has a reaction and he falls to the floor and they take him to the hospital. No one ever saw him again.
Yeah,
no one
yeah,
knows.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we get this thing. The very next day, we're watching on TV and they get on television. Fauci or one of these guys and says, we've discontinued the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because it's killing people and it's causing blood clots and
Yeah.
all these
Wow.
different things.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
And
I'm
you're like,
sitting
"I just
there.
got it."
I'm in
you
the
lucked out.
last 30 guys in
Well-
the BLP that got this friggin' shot.
Yeah.
And
It
I feel
boils
like I
down
did
to-
get some problems.
Maybe
from
not.
it.
It all depends on your genetic makeup. That's what we talked about,
Yeah.
the BRCA test and all this kind of things. Understanding and that's what almost happened to our son. It wasn't vaccination. It was basically
The gene expression, right?
Expression.
There's certain
Understand.
gene breakages
Yeah.
and expressions, and it's not a death sentence. It's just you understanding your breakages and the expressions, and then supplementing that.
And how do you hack it? Like, how do you fix it? How do
Right,
you
so-
rewire these
Well,
issues?
DNA Life is who we did our testing with. They gave us a very comprehensive
That's like,
understanding.
I just want the audience. That's
Yeah.
like a $600 test. Is that like the
I
number?
think it's $450.
Yeah.
But the consultation is included with that, and the recommendations are included with that, which is for life. You understand your genetic makeup
Just
once.
one time.
Are you
One
diesel
time.
or unleaded?
That's
now,
it.
when you go to the gas station, you know which
I
kind
think
of
it's an
fuel you need.
investment
That's it.
everyone should
I
make.
just did this
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 the night before we paid the money and sent our stuff, and the night before they went to bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I said, we really.
But
know
this
how
is
to
how they
body
also
check.
predict what could happen
I get
in
it.
the future.
No, but that's
So-
not 23andMe. 23andMe is knowing
That's
your
Ancestry.com.
Ancestry,
I want to
right.
know more about
no,
my past.
this is
and-
your whole.
No, I understand
yeah,
your genetic makeup,
Yeah.
your DNA. They're so good. I was
What
part
kind of
funding
vitamin
all these
should you be
things.
taking? Vitamin D.
Right.
Yeah.
Should you be taking? Why are you taking the
You could have
Flintstone? For
overage
what?
of vitamin
You can't
D.
eat carbs.
Yeah.
You can't. You got to stick with
And the
protein.
You could
the
probably
vitamin
find out
D.
you could smoke till you're 80.
Yes.
That's how good this
I
thing
hope I
is.
don't find that.
And the
out.
Johnson and
So I'll start
Johnson
smoking
didn't
again.
affect you like it affected that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
It could have
Right.
been the
He
genetic
just
makeup.
went like
Right.
flopping
Exactly.
like a fish that
Right.
was just
Yeah.
caught up, thrown in
Yeah.
a boat. So now you are going to
So-
all these different doctors.
All these different
And you're
doctors.
starting to see that nobody really knows shit.
Yeah.
Everybody's sort of a lot of guesswork, a lot of thinking about it.
In the regular medicine world, whereas
what
the
I mean.
functional medicine world was way more informed,
Right.
way more trying to dig deeper,
Right.
giving me more tests. Let's do a comprehensive 5-day
Root cause,
5-day
investigative.
stool test, not one stool. You don't just pick up one stool. Let's collect it for 5 days
They
straight.
treated our-
Let's do a
I did
nose
that
swab.
test.
Let's do a spit swab.
Right.
Let's
Did
do
all that.
urine test.
Yep,
Let's
yep,
get
yep.
the overall package, and that's what made me a
We
believer.
liked it. They were investigating our bodies like they were investigating a murder. Like, we're not going to stop until
Yeah.
we find the culprit.
Now you're still a fat guy at this point.
No,
No.
he is at the gym at this
Yeah,
point,
yeah,
8
yeah.
hours a day,
Okay.
getting massages.
So he decided
eating,
now. You
training.
said to him, look, it's enough. No bullshit. You're gonna get your shit
It was
together.
all
That's
that,
it.
and
You're
then
my man. You're my husband. I don't want to be a single mom.
Yeah, pretty much,
Right?
yeah.
Because
Well, it was-
you're heading for a heart attack or a stroke.
Yeah, it was that.
Def-
I mean, to
Definitely.
lose 100 pounds, bro. That's
You know, it also came down to like us having a son, and I told him, I was like, this son is gonna look up to you one day.
Maybe.
How do you want him to look
if
look
you're
up
around.
to you? And he's very paternal. Like, he is
Right.
such a great
I
dad.
could see.
It dawned on him. He's like, oh my gosh, there's gonna be, my daughter's gonna love me unconditionally no matter what I am, but the son may judge me, right? So a lot of hits it happened. So at this point, Mike is in our house. They're together like this. They're going to CrossFit, bodybuilding, cardio. It's like a full-time job, 8 to 10 hours a day. He sleeps 10 hours. He goes to massages. It was a job. He's eating exact the plan. He's not cheating.
We're filming the
anything.
documentary, Fat
Filming
Lolli,
the
at this time,
documentary. My life is I'm from
You're
casting
a
to
marketing
casting.
genius.
I'm over here just doing casting, filming, doctor, test. That's my life. Literally, we were like living separate lives that one year. As he was losing his weight, I was discovering this entire world of how to fix legend, how to heal legend. So in the interim, he lost all his weight. He decided
How
to
long
do
did it take to lose?
9 months.
9 months.
9 months.
Legit.
Legit.
And you started at 3. You know exactly. So 3 what? 15?
315.
And what was your target?
177. And
Stop
I competed,
it.
Yeah. I competed on stage.
177.
So in 9 months,
Yeah.
I lost the weight. It was 125 pounds. And then I got the loose skin surgery, recovered from that, competed and won.
I saw that. You know, when you when you get down to the weight and you're showing this slab in your skin.
It wasn't so bad.
No, let me just say this to you.
But
So
me-
I'm a man.
Yeah.
And you know, and now I'm single, right? You worry about what a woman taking your clothes off, right? And I have a big ego, and I'm very vain, and I won't do it unless I feel like I'm okay. You know, when I saw you do that,
Yeah.
it's almost like you had a whole nother. You're pulling your.
I know, yeah.
I loved you for that.
Thank you.
I want you to know that,
Thank you.
man to man.
Thank you.
That takes a real man.
It takes
yeah.
All this
guts.
other stuff
Yeah.
to me, making money, having capital, getting the great woman, all these different. Who gives a shit? That to me is just
Yeah.
the normal course of life.
Right.
But to go in front of a camera and say, "Look how fucked up I am,"
Yeah.
and the surgery, you know, surgery is a risky deal.
Very
It really
You know,
was.
I mean,
Yeah, we
He
said
said
our
his
goodbyes.
goodbyes.
Yeah, we said our goodbyes.
I believe that, and when you know they're marking you up and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, boy, I don't know if I have that courage. And I was only 230 going down to like
Yeah.
right now I'm 178 this morning. I'm like,
Yeah.
Stephanie's like, it's too thin. You're too thin. It's too thin. Because like, you carry a lot of muscle, you know.
Yeah.
No, but it's
and
good,
you get
though.
legs, and it's like, there's weight, but I don't care right now. I said, I'm biohacking myself. I'm rewiring
Smart.
myself, you
Very
know.
Yeah, fasting,
But
intermittent
I
fasting
fell
is
in
good.
love with you, bro.
Thank you.
Man to man.
Thank you so much.
And I'm not that kind of man. I'm just a real man. But
Thank
when
you.
you did that to me is there's a guy that's so secure and confident in himself. He can bear his ugliest feature
Yeah.
that most people would be disgusted by.
So true.
Literally.
That's so true.
I look at my little thing and I'm disgusted personally.
Wow.
Looking at myself.
Yeah.
I'm personally disgusted.
Yeah.
And I said, this is what a guy. I'm so excited, you know. And now and you don't disappoint.
Thank
I
you.
just want you to know that.
Thank you.
You're next level. That's why she's wearing those like Wizard of Oz shoes. I feel like
Gotta
she
add the
just goes like
sparkles.
this. She goes back to me. Mom, I'll be right there. Hold on.
I never thought of it.
I'm gone, Mom. I'll see you. Click, click, click.
That's
You're like
funny.
Superwoman. So you're doing this for your family, and I think most great things come out of like need and love.
Yes.
And not so much want, but need and love. Your son, he's not letting you sleep.
Yeah.
You're getting irritable. I mean, he's losing weight. He's in the gym. He's actually having fun. At some point, it becomes
It
fun.
was a lifestyle, big lifestyle.
But at some point,
was
it becomes
amazing.
fun. Like I
Met
can't
some
even
great
eat
people.
now.
Yeah.
My stomach's so closed
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
You know, I went to this event last night. I was a celebrity guest. I speak for some people at these things, like they try to promote things, and
Sure.
and they're serving these, you know, at Trulux. I don't know if you remember Trulux used to be in Meisner Park, the seafood restaurant. It's a beautiful
You know,
place
we're
in Fort
new to
Lauderdale.
Florida. We only moved out here 2 years ago.
Oh, we're going to get to that. So I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That part I didn't know.
Yeah.
I got so consumed with this other aspect of who you guys are
yeah.
that I really wanted to get to know you.
Yeah.
You know, as people, as human beings. You know, you're not just Lolli, the super biohacking masterminds, the bikini
It's
on
so
stage.
much.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. I'm watching him on stage after he healed from the surgery. His coach said, you know, what? He said, well, what's next? And the coach was like, well, there's competitions. He's like, what? He's like, I'm
Really?
doing it
Yeah.
because that was the first time he officially took his shirt off
Oh, really?
in
Yeah.
public.
I didn't
He
know.
would go to the pool with shirts on. Okay, when he was obese. So it was a whole big thing. For him, it was a monumental moment to take his shirt off in front of the people on stage.
I get it.
Limelight.
I get it, bro.
And that was the official, I'm over
But
and
you were
done
always sort
with.
of sexy and fit.
But after 2 kids, I can confess, I had a diastasis recti condition. So I could not.
What does that mean?
That is basically the opening of your abs. There's a tissue that connects your abdominal walls. When you have a huge baby, which my son was 10 pounds.
10 pounds?
And I'm a very small woman. He actually stretched that tissue so much.
No C-section?
No. That was a natural water birth. 10-pound elephant.
10 pounds?
10-pound elephant, natural water birth. I believe in natural everything. Like I said, I was very much like, I would not do what he's done. Surgery after surgery. I look at him in awe. Like, how are you able to confidently trust
I wanted to take
your
your shirt
life
off.
decision?
I'm starting. Don't get me started. I'm very persuasive.
So I look at him on the stage and I'm like, oh my gosh, what I saw happen. And here I am complaining about my mom
Right,
bod,
right.
which is just, 10 pounds. And then the diastasis, what happens is it makes you look still pregnant. Like your belly never goes back to being the 6-pack. It's like a flopping gate.
I understand.
You can lose all the fat.
Doesn't matter. I get
It doesn't matter. The tissue is
It's
open.
interior,
It's
right.
a condition. So you either fix it with surgery or what we did, which was heal it through hardcore exercise.
Oh, my
but you have to have
goodness.
bands. So I looked at him and then we got home and I was like, listen, you were able to do this with bodybuilding. Now, I've always been an athlete, but athleticism and sports cannot transform your body like this.
No.
So he's like, well, I can train you. I was like, what? I was like, wait a minute, the
Yeah.
former fat guy's gonna train me? And he's like,
boy.
I know everything. It's just like, TereZa, the way I do business, that's how much I understand about working out. This was like science to me. I understand how to do tension and blah, blah, blah. He knows the terms, he knows the muscle structure, everything.
I love
So
it.
he starts training me. Because I had a mom bod. And we have a joke. I was like, I had the 2 kids.
Yeah.
He had the tummy tuck.
Yeah.
But, I was
Literally.
literally.
Yeah, literally.
And I had a mom bod. So he started training me and COVID actually happens. And so we're just at the gym. We built up a gym downstairs, and we
Right,
just
right,
start training day in and day out. He makes me so strong. I'm deadlifting 225 pounds.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'2".
And you weigh?
And right now,
When you walk around.
115. Yeah, 115
And
is
you're
my normal.
deadlifting how much? Ladies, are you paying attention?
225,
What?
I'm telling you.
I know men can't deadlift 225.
I closed my diastasis because I would do planks with 3 plates on my back.
What?
And I would
Yeah.
squat him on my back.
Yeah.
When he was 210, when he was bulking, 210, I did 6 squats with him on my back.
Oh my God.
I got extremely strong. Maybe my athletic background helped because I had some muscle
great
memory.
Great calves, great ankles, all that.
Very strong, but he strategically trained me to not, damage or hurt myself.
Bodybuilding is, people don't know how extensive it is.
You have to do it
It's
right.
such
Gotta
a
know.
tough thing with
Protein
the diet.
intake,
The diet.
everything, supplement
everything's
intake.
measured.
Everything.
Your workouts are measured. Everything's,
Your
at some
steps,
point.
everything, salt, even
We did
down.
it right. We
Yeah.
did it right with coaching.
Well, we
nutritionists,
competed. We did a
everything.
docu-series.
Yeah, when I got ready, he's
Yeah.
like, "Babe, you're ready. You got to do competition.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got."
Let me see you shake your ass
Yeah,
on stage.
that's
So
right.
then we sat down one day, and I'm a I want maximum from everything. So I'm looking at which one to choose, and I'm seeing all these different competitions. One is a natural, and I'm like, hey, I want to prove to the world that I did it natural, so I want that. Next thing you know, I see this other one, WBFF. That's all fancy feathers. You look like a Victoria's Secret model. I was like, no, but I want to do that. The other one is in UK. I was like, oh, it would be nice to do international. So
And the other one
collecting
was
a
an
list.
NPC, which is
the
hardcore.
most legit one,
Right, right.
with respected one. So I looked at him, I was like, let's do them all.
Yeah.
I'll create the schedule. I'll do all of our outfits. I'll choose your trunks. I'll sign us up, and I'll do the hotels,
Yeah.
like
You
booking.
guys don't
Yeah.
fuck around.
We don't mess around. We did
Serious.
how many
32
times?
competitions.
32 times
32
we
times
stepped
step on stage.
Each
together.
one of you?
No,
Oh,
combined.
combined.
Different divisions,
She
different
became
Right,
a
right.
two-time bikini world pro in 2 different federations. I became a muscle model
Unexpected.
pro. I started beating people that had never been fat before. I was
Muscle
competing,
model
yeah.
pro.
I
Yeah,
can't even.
Yeah,
Not
and then
even
she was beating
transformation.
like women that are in their 20s with no
I
kids.
saw that. I saw that
yeah.
you're in the bikini. You're
Yeah, yeah.
stunning.
This is
You're
my
like
coach.
You're
Thank
stunning,
you.
and you're
Thank
a
you,
freak
thank
of
you.
nature. You really, you like.
But that
That's all
actually
in-
brought
yeah.
us closer together. We thought we were
Yeah.
close, but really training together
Yes.
built a bond.
Oh, my goodness.
Because you go
admiration
through an admiration.
towards each
Yeah.
other.
Well, even when I was just had training partners, there's a love that develops
There is.
just between me and a trainer. You know,
Yeah.
when I was really, doing stuff. It was like
You're also coming and excited. You're like, oh, I just benched this much. Like you
get
understand the language.
So
Yeah.
excited. Well, the adrenaline and the endorphins in your brain. It's
Yeah.
like you feel great.
And then when we go to a restaurant, because like our kids want to go to a restaurant, we're over there with our meal plans out of
Oh,
our
God.
BPA-free plastic bags. We get it, right? We are understanding and supporting each other. So that journey has to be done together.
Yeah.
You know,
it doesn't have to
most
be done
people-
together, but you chose to do it together, and that's
Yes.
a huge thing,
That
and
was
it
a big
shows the power of the two of you together. I mean,
Yeah.
I think this is just my opinion. If you were separate and apart, each one of you was a very special, powerful person. But combined, 1 + 1 is not 2; it's like 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a multiply effect. Because listen, we human beings. Every once in a while, you have a down day, you have an off
Yeah.
day.
Sure.
You have each other to lean on. I mean, it's like my ex-wife is still my coach, my best friend. My
Yeah.
business partner. All these things. I get power from our relationship, from our friendship, and all these things. It's very important.
Such a good thing you mentioned. Sorry to interrupt. When you're
Yes.
saying you have down days, right? When you don't have that support that you can lean on, it's such a killer to the progress.
It is.
You could make decisions during those downtimes that could completely alter the results. In our relationship, we are like this thing, the yin and yang.
Yeah, I was just saying to say the words yin and yang, and you said it.
We are, because
get it. I
when
see it.
he's down, I'm up. When I'm down, he's up. Most of the time, we're both up. But if I'm down, because I have my cycles and I'm going to be down, he knows. He's up extra. He's like, yeah, I'm going to like rile her up.
Lean on me. Three
Lean on
three
me.
amazing words that
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
don't really understand the power of certain words. Lean on me.
Yes.
When everybody gets soft with human beings.
Yeah.
And I'm just I've had Dan Solomon in the studio.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
in charge of the Olympia. He runs the Olympia.
Well, we did a documentary about the Olympia. It's called The Guru.
Well,
We
after
had-
the
I saw the
Super
Guru.
Yeah.
I saw
Oh, you
part
watched
of it. I
it?
saw part of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yes,
That's awesome.
I saw part of it. I intend to watch a lot more. I also had Steve Kuklo in here.
Yeah,
Steven is a dear
legend.
friend of mine.
Very nice. I saw that in.
I made him take his shirt off. He's complaining. He's
legend.
fat. He's
He's a
soft.
legend.
He's not in shape. He took his clothes out. He couldn't find an inch of fat. 270
funny, right?
pounds, 3% body fat.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, he's
fat.
amazing.
He's, you know,
Amazing
I'm
guy.
like these guys. At some point, you can get a
In your
little
mind,
nutsy.
yeah.
But I think that you did it. You just killed it, bro. I
Thank
mean,
you.
it's like
Thank
what
you.
you know. I mean, for her, I mean, she's already the whole deal. So
Yeah.
I understand you killed it. It's just your nature.
Well,
Yeah.
for women, you got to think about it though. For women, 10, 15 pounds after a baby is like 100 pounds.
Oh,
to,
this
you know,
is-
especially if you're in shape your whole life.
Yeah.
That's your whole identity. Now the kids is because
Right.
she was breastfeeding and
Oh my
you know,
goodness, you did everything.
I
Everything.
breastfed each of them for 3.5 years.
Right, during the
I
competition.
double breastfed them for 1.5 years because that's the best thing you can give to the sibling connection. That
Yeah.
I read that.
Yeah.
I read every single parenting book.
Double breastfed. That means
I
at the
would
same
put
time?
them together
time,
and
yeah.
they
We
would
got
play with
pictures,
each other's
yeah.
noses for 1.5 years
That's
straight.
it's like
I nursed
to me,
them
that's
together.
like a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
It
I
really
would put
is.
them to sleep like that.
Yeah,
nursing
yeah.
and I actually did a photo shoot where
And you could produce enough milk for.
Oh yeah.
more than enough
Yeah.
because it's actually supply and demand. So you get more breast milk as there's demand.
Right.
I got you.
And
Okay.
actually, when our son came, he was very demanding. He was constantly nursing. There was more milk for my daughter, which had dried up before, so she was having
So
fun.
your research tells you, and I trust you like nobody right now.
Yeah.
You recommend this to women.
Absolutely. First of all,
Because
it's
we
amazing.
went through a whole formula thing. I don't want to explain to you. We used to go on a trip. I'd have 2 cases of formula. She had special formula. This one was allergic to this. This
By
one
the way,
was
some of that
sensitive to
formula
that.
is now being banned.
Yeah.
Now it's being
Formula
banned.
ingredients.
The ingredients.
Yeah,
you
I'm
know?
not shocked. How about
Yeah.
that? I'm not surprised. But luckily, my kid's very healthy.
Yeah,
My wife
well,
is always
you
very
lucked out in
natural.
that era. I'm talking about
Well,
today's
my wife
kids.
is natural. She's a little bit like you that way. She researches and she studies, but sort of, she's a real Italian and the old school. They had a lot of good traditions and
Sure.
smarts about them.
Yeah.
My kids always at Whole Foods and they love fruit. They don't even like candy. It's like a
Yeah.
weird thing. I grew up on candy and canned food. Like my mother would give me a can of SpaghettiOs. Sometimes I was so, was in a rush or lazy. I used to just eat it cold out of the friggin'
Wow.
out of the jar.
Yeah, I
That's like
remember those
part of my
days.
story. Mac and cheese was very
Wow.
comforting.
Big deal. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
The little craft things. You put
Craft,
them in.
yeah.
It's like,
A craft, yeah.
it's a whole meal for $1.
Absolutely.
When I was in
Wow.
college,
Yeah.
it was really crazy. But so this is amazing. So really, I wanted to ferret out the truth behind the lollies. I mean, because you guys at this point have big reputation. I mean, you're really well thought of.
Thank you.
I asked a few people. I just really started podcasting and influencing, and I hope I get a chance to tell you what I'm really doing.
Yes.
Because I think I've see something that so far nobody's figured out, and I'm very excited about it. And it's so obvious. It's one of those things, the greatest things are so obvious.
Yeah.
Well, it's like putting water in a bottle and selling it, right?
Well, just think about something like Uber. What did Uber do?
Yeah.
Well,
I was pitched. I could have been a founder of Uber, right?
Yeah.
Co-founder. I was pitched, and I didn't get it because I'm not a tech guy. I didn't grow up on a cell phone and
Right.
apps and computers. And by the time computers came around, I was this big producer.
Yeah.
So everybody was like, "You don't worry about it. We're hiring you. You got a staff. I got a
Yeah.
team. I got
Yeah.
even when I did my own brokerage firms at banks, I just spent $2 million. I got this
Yeah.
whole big thing, from Dell, and I had guys running it, and I just didn't want to know. So I was one day woke up when I sold my company. I was like, I didn't even know how to get an email because everything was handled for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was like a real.
Yeah.
But you guys have figured out some things. You're like this trendy couple that wants more from life. And
Yes.
what's more important than our health?
Yeah.
Nothing. Health is wealth. I think Bobby says it too. It's like a healthy person wants a lot of things. A sick person wants one thing.
Right. I have some very smart friends, and I go to for advice and thoughts. You always want to bounce things off people, right? Men I respect that are very intelligent, successful, etc. And they say, Ross, you can have 100 issues. As soon as you have a health issue, you have one issue.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Because I'm 68 now. It's not I'm not
Oh,
a
you
kid
look good
anymore.
you look good for 68.
Thank you very
yeah.
much.
I mean, you still got time to be president, by the way.
I'm coming back, right? And funny thing is, I'm an ex-con.
Yeah, you would be right
he's
in
a felon.
line.
He's
You'd be
convicted.
right in line.
Why
Why not have another picture on there?
Maybe a senator because I've only been convicted of 4 felonies.
Well,
and
what's his
Trump
name?
has got 32
But
felonies.
what's his name in Jersey? Is I think
Chris Christie?
Congressman. No, a former mob guy.
I saw that. He just became a congressman.
and the community respects him.
Yeah.
And they stand up for him. One person
I
tried to
saw
disrupt.
that.
They stand up. But people are entitled to change.
Well, you know what it is? Forbes did a story on me in the magazine in 2005, and it says a leopard can change his spots.
Right.
You know, a United States senator was, vouching
Right.
for me in
Right.
the magazine.
That's
Came out in
amazing.
May of '05, like 20 years ago, almost today.
Right.
A great story,
Right.
and
Yeah.
because when I was in the '80s, I was a wild guy,
Right.
and I did a lot of wild things and irresponsible things. And,
But that makes you wiser.
well, I believe so.
And
My
perspective.
experience is correct, but I was in a very regulated business. They tell you what you can make, what you can charge. If you got something at X, you can only sell it for Y. If it's Y plus, it's heavily regulated.
Sure.
That's what I love about what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
I'm not regulated. I could say, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And that's going to be in the podcast. But if I was on Sirius Radio, and
Yeah.
they have been offering some deals to people like me, and real money, I mean, serious money. But now you have the FCC. You're answering to a regulator.
Sure.
So all my life and I learned one thing in America, there's no such thing as a regulated business. It's either unregulated or over-regulated.
Right.
Because
Right.
all they do, what's the deep state? All the bureaucracies, this, that, the other, and we know what a scam it is. Imagine the Surgeon General recommending all these different things, telling you it's okay to do this, it's okay to do that, it's not okay. I mean, everything is friggin' upside down because of special interests. And I know stories about food, because I was always in the money business, and guys would come to me, and I heard the worst stories of, you wouldn't even believe some of these things regarding things like Sweet and Low and Splenda and some of these deals. General Foods was a Dow 30 stock, and they were selling poison, and they knew it, and everybody knew it.
Well, I think what it is
Crazy
now,
stuff goes on, and now this is all coming out.
Well, what
People
it
like
is
you.
it's in Albert Einstein says, learn the rules of the game and play better than anybody else. All these companies were playing by the regulations that were set at that time. Nobody was breaking the rules. Those were the rules.
Well, they were creating the rules, believe
right.
it or not, and
But
they were.
what's
and they
happening
were,
now?
They were wrong. They
There
were
are
wrongful.
new rules there's a brand new clean slate.
Right.
And so now it's about testing and not guessing. Now it's about, let's think about the ingredients, let's actually see why people are getting sick. Let's investigate. Let's put the right money behind research.
Right.
And let's not take 20 years to do the research. Let's actually
Well, because the
cut
world is
fat.
transparent today.
And
Because
now
of
we have AI.
computers and connectivity
Right.
and cell phones. Everybody has got a camera.
We have
So
access
you
to
now have. You can't be bullshitted
Exactly.
the way we.
Exactly.
There used to be 4 or 5 networks when I was
Right.
growing up. That's it.
That was it.
ABC, CBS, NBC.
And
That's
there
it.
used to be confirmation bias, right? You and I would watch, those channels, and maybe we're all in agreement because that's all we're being programmed.
Correct.
with.
We're watching 60 Minutes. Now we know what a scam the whole thing is, how
Yeah.
everybody's paying to, whether it's political or business. Look at John D. Rockefeller. People don't understand what
We
happened.
wrote about it in this magazine.
I didn't know.
The
With-
history of Rockefeller.
Right, medical schools.
Yeah.
He decided everything's going to be oil-based because he controlled oil.
And
Yep.
wait till you know the history of peer-reviewed journals. Same
Yeah,
deal.
well, everything's a scam. I mean, it's really unsettling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the good news is that's history. And I think with this administration,
We're unraveling everything. now.
everything is, but it's also unraveling, and that's great, but I think we're now playing on a new field.
I think so. It's
Yeah,
changed.
it's changing.
Look at Bobby Kennedy.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I think he's older than me.
yeah.
He's a beast.
In the documentary, he did 38
He's in our
pull-ups, chin-ups,
documentary.
push-ups
He's
with our
a
son.
beast.
Yeah.
Beast.
You know how hard pull-ups are.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
always been a thing. And the guy
He's
takes his shirt off
so
and he's
real.
like
Amazing.
a beast.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
And they try and come at him for different things, and stupid things. They're all on the take. The pharmaceutical industry's got everybody.
It's a slippery slope
Everybody.
because every is entitled to their opinion. People have opinions
Correct.
because it's confirmation by their algorithms feeding them whatever they think is right, And so you also have to take a look at it from a top perspective. I think what he's doing is allowing his work to prove itself.
What a great mediator you are. He's a phenomenal
Yeah.
negotiator. He's calm. He's got the right physical animation.
Making him blush. Look at that.
I just love him. I really do. I have to
Yeah.
tell you the truth. I mean, I have mad respect for you,
Me
bro.
too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let me just say one thing. If you ever fell out of love with him for a moment, the
You
whole
would
world
smack
would know. No, the whole world would know.
Yeah.
It's not happening in this lifetime. But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, God put you to the. It's a divine thing here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
To me, it's stone cold obvious. But
Thank you.
That's the kind of guy I am. What am I going to tell you? It's your souls were connected long
He's
before
mediating us.
long before
Next
you
time
guys
we have
were
a conflict,
born.
we're gonna call him.
Long before you guys were born, your souls were connected.
Yeah.
You know,
Probably, because imagine how we met. Just a random chance of that.
a zillion to
we're
one
starting
odds.
to look like each
Yeah.
other too, right? We were talking about that.
We're
our
starting
kids,
to look
yeah.
like each other
Yeah.
when we smile and take
Let's
pictures.
not panic. You look nothing alike.
We don't? That's interesting because a
You've
lot
seen
of
our
the
kids, right? Our
photographers
kids
say.
Your kids are beautiful, by the
they're-
way.
let me
I
see if
mean,
I can-
I had like a
gorgeous.
collage. Thank you. I had a collage that I put together. Maybe I'll show you afterwards.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
show you my
Yeah.
family too.
Yeah,
but
it's
I want to get more into the biohacking
yes.
because you're a real estate magnate and you understand business. You understand building a business, driving a business, scale it. You also understand how to create exit strategies,
Yes.
which to me is, that's always, when I meet people, I say, look, what's your favorite sign in this room? Right? And people will look around and like they think that, no, the exit sign.
Right.
Whenever I get into a room, I want to know how I'm going to get out.
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah.
People want my money. They want me to invest this and that. I've been selling investments to the richest people in the world for 40 years. And, the only thing people should really care about is how are they going to get out?
Sure.
What's in it? But everyone's telling you, I'm going to tell you about this company. And here's what we're going to do. You're going to invest in this. We're going to build this. We're going to do that. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
how am I going to get my money?
Right.
What's in it for me?
Right, that's right.
What's
Yeah,
in it for me?
that's right.
Not that it's a selfish thing, but otherwise, if you're asking me for my money, you're asking me to invest, right?
Yeah.
How do I get out?
Yeah.
I know how to get in, right? I
Right.
hand you a
Yeah,
check,
that's right.
right?
Yeah.
Getting out is a whole other story.
Yeah.
So you've created exits and you use that terminology
Yes.
quite a bit.
Yes.
And we're just really like meeting, getting to know each other. And
Yes.
that's a signal to me.
Yes.
You get it. I mean,
Yes.
and you're what I would call smart money.
Thank you.
And that's a big deal. And your
Yeah.
whole persona is just really, you're a seasoned craftsman.
Thank you.
You really are.
Well,
Such a
it's
good-
funny because
I get it.
It's
And he's
'cause-
young. He's still young.
Yeah.
He hasn't his prime yet. I'm going to tell you right now, a man doesn't become a man until he's 50.
Yeah, I believe
So-
so. Well, my
Is that what
dad
it
had
is?
me
His
when
best
he was
is coming,
50.
I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
so she really stumbled into this biohacking because of
Legend.
Legends issues.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and why is Legend so different than Love? Same parents, same environment, same DNA, and yet
Yeah.
one sleeps through the night easy, the other one's got some sort
Yeah.
of. So I get that. So biohacking comes from David Asprey. You said his name was.
Dave Asprey, he didn't coin the word, but he invented it. And he said, oh, this is called biohacking. And about 11 years ago, he created the Biohacking Conference that he started actually bringing on new inventors and founders and companies to come and have expos.
To figure out how to improve the human condition, that kind of a thing.
Correct.
Right?
So he started all of that. So when so what happened was going back, right? So he's transformed. We finished doing the Super Lollies. We were winning all kinds of awards.
You did
13
32
awards.
shows.
32 shows. The documentary, that docuseries gets released. We win 13 awards for the Super Lollies. We're filming now the documentary. Then we do the Guru, which is the biggest bodybuilding documentary. We collect all of the biggest bodybuilders to talk about.
What's
George
his name
Farah.
again? It's
George Farah.
George Farah.
Yeah, so I followed George Farah when I was in the
guy.
bodybuilding.
No
You were
way.
following him even
Yes, when he
before?
was a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yes.
yeah.
So
That was
he
my
came
Dorian
to
Yates
us.
and
Yeah.
Ronnie
Yeah.
Coleman and all these guys.
Well,
Jay
the
Cutler.
president, the Mannion, him and his son, Jim Mannion,
I
are
was-
in the
Tyler
documentary.
Mannion, yeah.
Everyone, 32 of the biggest names we
We
put in.
cast some of the most renowned people in the bodybuilding
I
world
saw that.
to come tell George's story.
So impressive.
Yeah. So that story went really well. 25 film awards for that documentary.
Wow.
Now,
Did you make money on it?
George's
You
life
talk
is
about the money.
completely. Basically, when George commissioned us to do the documentary, he's like, first of all, his story is incredible. He got shot, then
Three
he hit
times.
three times, hit the Olympia stage.
saw the
Oh,
whole
you know,
thing.
wow.
Then what ended up happening was he was at the top of his game as a coach, gets this cancer, colorectal cancer.
Oh, God.
from the shots because lead was stuck in his
And
body.
then, first of all, this guy's he invites us over to his castle in Rochester.
Yeah.
He's like, everybody turned their back on me, Anthony and TereZa, everybody, because all of my top athletes, he was coaching them while he's in the hospital dying.
getting surgeries, yeah.
But there was
We
a
have
point where he
footage of
couldn't coach. He says, I almost lost my shirt, but I'm making a big comeback. I'm a fighter. He goes, I got this book, I got this app, and I have a supplement line. But I missed the TikTok craze. I missed the YouTube craze. I don't have a podcast. I need an activation. I need somebody to tell my
Catalyst,
story.
a catalyst.
I need something, and you guys' name came up as the best storytellers in the health and wellness space. It would be an honor if you guys would tell my story. And when we met him, we said it would be an honor if we would tell your story.
Yeah,
Like
Jason Guck, our friend, actually made the introduction.
Made the introduction.
And you're ready now. You're really into the bodybuilding world.
Really into the bodybuilding. So we're already fans,
Right,
okay,
right, right.
of the
Fans,
world.
We're going to watch Mr. Olympia.
And
We
you
are
mean to
all
tell me
muscles and-
we get to interview these people and meet these people we've been watching on stage while we were competing? We meet the owners of the
It was
federations we
perfect.
compete. It was like a perfect time because we had just came off of the high of meeting everyone in the industry.
Yeah.
And so to be in an intimate documentary film setting, so TereZa casted the whole thing. She said, let me see who you've coached. And this turns out this guy's coached 135 of the biggest names, including The Rock.
Kai Green, Dexter Jackson.
Changed everyone's life. So we said, we can't do 135. She picked 32. We slimmed it down to 32.
32 still.
Messaged them,
Scheduled
all
them.
during the Mr. Olympia weekend, 2022.
They all
December,
love George.
in Vegas.
They all
Vegas?
love George. They
In
said
Vegas.
anything for George.
2022.
And
Right.
we interview every single
Was
person.
Dan Solomon running the Olympia at that
Dan
time?
He
was
was
running
already,
back
yeah,
then.
he
He
was
was so
the
busy.
CEO, I think,
he
right?
was
The
the CEO.
president.
Yeah, he was so
Yeah.
busy
Yeah.
he couldn't be in it. But Jim Mannion was in it, and his son Tyler, his grandson Tyler.
So as we film that, what's happening on the family front is that I'm sick of school system. What happened is, again, I'm Armenian. I don't really know the school system. So I said, since my kids are young and super friendly and we're done with the legend health scare, we're good. Let's try out all the different schools. We'll go to public school for 6 months. We'll go to a private school for 6 months. Let's try Montessori for 6 months. Let's try Waldorf for 6 months. Let's try Orthodox for 6 months. So we did that. And I was so disappointed because I really wanted to be a parent inside to understand their curriculum, the way the teachers are. Every single school disappointed me greatly. And I thought it was New York. I thought the problem was New York. And he got invited to go to St. Pete for a supplement deal or something like that.
St. Petersburg. We were going to start our own supplement line because we built a big fan base in the transformation world.
So that was around like February of 2022. 2022, we were still casting the guru. So he comes to St. Pete, he calls me, and he's like, I'm like in love with this little city.
St. Petersburg.
I think you should take a trip.
Also, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And he met, one of his friends that's a real estate developer, and they had this amazing, powerful conversation about what's happening with the zoning and stuff like that. And his wheels start turning, and
he's like, dude, you know what happened in Williamsburg, Brooklyn? You know what happened in Dumbo with the upzoning? It's happening in St. Pete.
And I'm
but
sick
nobody's
and tired of
seeing
New York.
this.
Yeah.
Now it's the reverse, though. They overbuilt.
And so
a little bit, but irregular.
Yeah.
So he calls me up. I take a flight, and to me, it was like palm trees, the perfect weather.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm sick of New York. I can't stand the school system. We found a perfect private school there that was like very boutique, very different. I was like, I'll give that one last try. So we decide to move. December of 2022.
Wow. So right after COVID, sort of like COVID was slimming down now.
Yeah.
So you moved from Bay Ridge, where you had your spot, all this New York, you have a lot of legacy there, right?
Yeah.
And now you're in St. Petersburg.
So literally, we move to the new place in Clearwater, and then we fly to Vegas to film The Guru. Like insane month.
Yeah.
And our son had booked and was filming Martin Scorsese's daughter's movie as the lead actor.
Yeah.
This is the son that was
Legend.
diagnosed to be
Legend,
autistic.
yeah.
He
He's a
was
star
the
in a
star
movie.
in Martin Scorsese.
How old was he at this time?
He was 4. He filmed for 7 days straight from December 1st to December 7th. We moved on the 8th. And then we flew out on the 12th to film The Guru, all in 1 month. This, I'm just telling you to understand how much things we can pull together when it's all seems impossible and overwhelming. We still say yes. We prioritize our kids, our health, and our creative careers, and we make it work. And we moved. We moved to Florida. Then what happened?
Well, we moved to St. Pete, and then we're thinking, okay, we have connections, we have friends. Maybe we'll get our kids in the best schools. Turns out everybody's got connections. Everybody's got friends in Florida.
A lot of real money.
A lot of real money down here.
Trust me.
And so
I had to write a
that's
check for
it.
100 grand.
10 students.
The privilege of paying 30
That's
grand.
right. That's right. And so turns out we have to go to a different private school in Clearwater, which was a blessing because we met the Mala fam, Ben Mala, who's big also on YouTube. He's a real estate guy, nice people. So we put our kids there. We ended up buying a home out there. And then we end up moving to Boca because our kids, they're child actors, they're really good. We created a family podcast concept, a family show.
Where they were actually
they were
talking about the biggest topics like pedophilia.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Crazy topics.
Crazy
'cause
topics.
We
It
are
was
always
very
being
open with
They
mature.
understand
Very-
all that?
They understand all that.
They can explain.
So,
it. I would love for you
Patrick
to interview
Bet-David,
them,
who's
by the way.
Can't wait.
You'd have a blast.
I
Yeah,
can't
you would love
wait.
it. You would love it.
I
So,
can't wait.
So Patrick Bet-David owns a podcast show called Valuetainment,
Yes.
PBD podcast. So through mutual friends, we were introduced, and our kids were the first assigned talent on Valuetainment.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
a great
yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah.
That's a
That's
great
why we
story.
moved to this
That's
side
why we
of
moved to
Florida.
this side because we didn't want to live in Fort Lauderdale. It was a little too young crowd for the kids.
Yeah.
We weren't really interested
This
in that.
is the right spot for your family.
Right.
I'm just
Yeah.
going to say.
So
it's
we
a great
ended
place
up-
to
The
raise a
homeschooling
family. That's
also
why we
was-
came.
yeah.
Like we told our kids, Mommy said, Daddy, we could live anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Any place on earth. I really,
But here's-
And I picked Boca Raton.
Yeah.
And there's an expression
nice.
they say, if God was a person, even for just one day, he'd come to Boca Raton.
Yeah.
That's
It's beautiful.
I mean that.
It's
It's
beautiful.
really,
Wow.
it's a spectacular place.
Yeah.
Good people.
And you find like-minded people and
Yes.
like-minded type families and
Yes.
people that want the best, and it's safe.
yes. Yes.
So you live in Boca Raton now.
Yeah, so we
I love it.
discovered homeschooling. So when we went to Boca, after all of the schools, and really we learned the terrain of all the different school systems, all the different school disciplines.
Yes.
We even put our kids in Greek private school,
Mm-hmm.
and I said, our last name is Lolli, but in Greek school it's Lollilopolos because we went to the best Greek school.
I get it. I love it.
And then we said, okay, TereZa was really honing in on this homeschool thing. It was just really just like on us. So we said, why don't we try Legend? We'll put Legend in a private school,
Yeah.
and then we'll put Love in homeschool.
We tried one.
We tried one.
The easy one first.
Yeah.
Love was already, she knew how to read and she was
Right,
already
right,
in
right.
second grade. That was just really great. When we moved to Boca, that was a really good opportunity. Mid-school year.
What year was this now?
This is
23?
2023 December is
Okay.
when we moved here. So it was mid-year.
December is a very busy month in the Lolli family.
Yeah.
It's very April
busy,
and
yeah.
December.
And April,
honestly,
right.
if you
Birthdays.
think about everything we filmed, was a lot of it in
December.
December. Our competitions were in December. The Guru was in December.
Crazy.
Biohack Yourself was in December. Shield was in December. Every single year.
Yeah.
Very kind of dynamic month for us. But going back, right? So we moved to St. Pete. Well, before we moved there, at that time when he called me and I took the flight, we were hanging out with again this Armenian woman.
The one
who
that
hooked us up.
Same woman.
She's the one that
again,
invited.
She's like a blessing that comes in and out of our life.
Bro.
Judy Sahagian.
So
I
she
already
the
know what a
credit,
blessing
baby.
she
Yeah,
is.
she really
Yes.
is. So she moved to Florida to do real estate with this big developer in St. Pete.
Yeah.
This guy's like, you know Lolli? Tell Lolli to come down here. I want to tell him about some stuff that's happening with the zoning. He doesn't even know me, but he's heard of me. He was a broker in New York. I come down there. You got to meet Lolli, whatever. So we meet each other. He's like, I got some tips for you guys. Listen, I'm now I'm doing big lot assemblages. So BlackRock gave me a $500 million credit line. I'm doing big developments now, further down. But the stuff that's happening in St. Pete, it's too big for the little guy, too small for the big guy.
Right.
It's right for a Brooklyn guy like you. You should
get
come
it.
down here, and it would change.
It's a great pitch, by the way.
No, but it was honestly, he didn't want anything for it. It was just being a nice guy.
I understand.
And I think he just wanted more people like him around. And has a beautiful wife and kids, and same deal. And we came down, and you met his wife, you met him, and
But what happened was everything was great. We're like, okay, we're going to make the move. Let's start looking at properties and whatever. And then we're
But Judy was
out.
hanging around this guy.
Right. We're hanging
Right.
out
But
with
he-
Judy.
and
And
then-
Judy's like, you guys, you destroyed your bodies probably with all that bodybuilding. You got to biohack. And she just throws concepts. I was like,
what's this
that biohacking?
Just like you were like, what's this biohacking?
That's what happened?
Yeah.
She said it again, like out of nowhere. And then she's like, oh, you don't know biohacking? I got to introduce you to my friend, Stephen Klein. He knows everybody and everything. So we go to this sound healing therapy session when Stephen Klein comes and introduces himself to us. And we click right away because he starts talking everything that I've been discovering, but I don't know the terminology. I don't know there's a whole world that exists. And then I look at Anthony, I was like, we got to do a documentary about biohacking. It's going to bring everything that I've experienced
Wanted something
in
that we
one
wish we
documentary.
had.
Yes. I was
We
like,
wanted
imagine.
to build a tool
So brilliant.
that other people, because
Wow.
here's what it is. You watch a podcast now. Let's say you look at Andrew Huberman and Lex Friedman. They're talking about mitochondria, ATP, telomeres, photobiomodulation, what the hell does that mean?
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
So we were just looking, and it's like Korean. I don't know what they're saying.
Adenosine
And then you get
triphosphate.
disconnected.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
you get
understand.
disconnected.
And then
it's
the
not for you.
peptides and this one, BPC, what
Yep,
the hell does that
What the
mean?
hell is all this
So
mean?
we did a documentary and we were asking these people simple questions.
You actually produced it.
We produced
Paid
So-
for it.
paid
you-
for everything.
We
you
talked to
you know all the things to do to make a.
Yeah.
we
Well, this
talked
is
to Stephen
number
Klein,
13,
and he
yeah.
said, "I literally know everybody in the industry. What do you
It's a
guys
small
wanna
industry
film?"
still.
Yeah,
It's
small
really-
industry.
yeah.
What are you guys gonna film? Well, we said, well, what are the most important topics to cover? So we wrote a list and we started hosting. We said, you can be our casting director. So let's make the
love it.
introductions. We'll get on Zooms. We'll do the casting calls. Within 3 months, we put together the cast for part 1. We didn't know it was part 1 to part 5. We just knew it was one documentary.
Right. I get it.
It exploded to 5 parts
exploded.
later on because the word got out. Everybody wanted to get in. But the first one we filmed in June. So like March of 2023, we have our first casting call. June of 2023, we're full-fledged in production, filmed and finished. That's how short
We
it
have
was.
185 people we employed in this documentary.
If you don't mind me
Documentary
asking, what does
series, yeah.
something like that cost to do a documentary?
Usually $3.5 million.
Yeah.
That's a big budget.
You
for
want to
it.
do a
Yeah.
big
You wanna
quality.
do-
You
we
want to
do-
have
well,
that's real
angles.
money.
You want to
like-
have monitors.
We
you
have
want to
behind
have
the scenes. I mean, there's a lot.
we
We,
have
do it
2
top, and
crews.
this goes on multiple streaming platforms.
Yeah.
Right.
So in
Music,
order,
scoring,
music,
That's
editing.
real money.
Real
you
money.
can make a real movie for that money, and I guess you made a real movie.
It's
This
a
is evergreen.
documentary meets a podcast meets a master class.
Right.
You're not watching Heal. You're not watching something that you're going to be sensitive about or get emotional about or feel hopeless about. You're going to watch a real practical documentary where you're going to have a notepad. You're going to take names down.
Right.
Product names
Introduce
down.
you to people. Most
Yeah.
documentary, we're watching documentaries. Okay, the government, I get it. Okay, this
Right.
one
Did this
did
wrong.
bad.
Right.
But how do I fix it?
Where's the call to action?
That's
Right,
what I'm
exactly
saying.
Right.
So we
So
were
we
like,
wanted to
no
do
more.
that.
We're gonna make something that if I interview somebody,
Yeah.
you can do business with that person.
Because people
get it.
consume information through podcasts already.
Right.
They're used to consuming
but
intellectual
our
content.
screening
I get
process,
it. Right. This is a great vehicle right now.
Yes.
the screening process, you had to pass the screening. You could not just get in on the on the documentary
Yeah.
unless you were highly vetted. So whoever we put in met the sniff test.
Right.
Yeah.
They're real people.
You're smart people.
Real
You
people.
look. It's very hard to bullshit you guys. I
Yeah.
think it would be incredible.
And you know, we do this like with Stephen Klein, for example. We also onboarded more casting directors who've been in the industry forever to help us cast Shield too. We don't just because we were the outsiders. How are we
Right.
going to cast? What do
Right.
we know? So we bring the real insiders to help us vet the people, vet the scientists and the experts and the influencers. Who's good? Who's bad? Who's got good reputation? Who's even the fact that some of them are infighting, right? So we would know
That's good. That's
the
entertaining.
entire
Yeah.
the inside scoop, and we would understand who are we
Now,
bringing
is this
in
the
together.
first real movie or documentary on this subject on biohacking?
Yeah, there's other documentaries but they are not solution based.
I got it.
They're
The
mostly,
format,
or
yeah.
if you
I got
find
it.
a documentary about biohacking, let's say it's about what this scientist is inventing. Okay, that's great that's coming
And
out.
it has a lot of the documentaries don't cover everything. We literally cover.
Well, you did 5 parts, you
to
said?
Z, 5
5
parts.
parts.
114 interviews. We cover everything from brain to lungs to
I
cells
can't believe
to
it. I
energy
almost
between
can't believe
cells.
it.
Yeah.
Did you guys form your own expo?
It's
or
an
no?
encyclopedia.
Right. So what we
basically.
did for 18 months before we released the documentary, we started posting, sharing, tagging, and collaborating with all the stars. Some of these people have millions of followers.
Right.
Yeah.
So we built a massive fan base of anticipation. When is this coming out? What's going on? Can I get more information? Because we were putting shorts and reels and clips, then leading traffic to the actual stars. So people started already healing themselves. They started getting these little short, palpable solutions saying, oh, I want to do business with that guy. So we started hearing from the cast, hey, I'm getting phone calls
Right,
already.
right.
When's this thing coming out? So we got invited to, it's a big deal. There's something called the American Academy of Anti-Aging. Put it this way.
I
It's
know
like-
it very well. You
It's
don't
the
understand how
A4M.
much-
No?
Right.
Wow.
I had the first anti-aging clinic in Boca Raton. Just
So look at that. So
Yeah.
the
23 years
A4M,
ago.
you know,
So
which
you're,
is a very prestigious, the Super Bowl, right? In order to exhibit there, you got to pass their test. In order to
founders are in Boca Raton.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in order to
Boca
even
Raton.
attend, like you have to be a doctor to attend. You know,
I had a doctor that worked for my fund, and I heard about it. It was testosterone, and
Right.
I sent him, and he comes back. He goes, "I'm dropping everything with your permission. I'm going to get certified in anti-aging medicine.
That's right.
Wow.
This is
They do certifications.
2003.
So here's what
Now
happens.
we opened the clinic and right on Federal, right by the hotel.
We get a phone call from the A4M. Lolli's, your names are coming up.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Your names come up everywhere.
They were
You
like,
know that, and that's
they
a
were
beautiful
like-
thing.
They were like,
you.
what are you guys doing December 15th? And TereZa was like, we're real busy. We got a lot of things going on. What do you want? They're like, we have a 14th. First of all, it's the last day of our biggest event. 7,000 doctors, 1,000
How
exhibitors.
crazy is that?
We would like to gift
Up
you.
in Orlando, they had it? Or?
No, it was in the
Vegas.
Oh,
Venetian.
now it's in Vegas. You know what's
Vegas.
made it
Yeah.
now? They go to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
So they said, we have a 14,000 square foot ballroom at the Venetian Hotel. We want you guys to have your Biohack Yourself premiere at this ballroom. Can
Oh, it
you-
hadn't come. It hadn't.
It
You haven't
come out.
released it
No,
yet.
They hadn't released
no.
Just
it.
snippets and
Yeah.
So we finished filming in April of 2024.
Okay.
Right? From June to April, we were filming, casting, filming, and we finished all 5 parts. We had to shut the doors. There was more people wanting to get in, but we're like, we can't do
right.
10
What is
parts.
it? It's endless, right? It's endless.
But what did happen was I kept hearing from every single expert that women's biohacking is different and nobody's covering that. And women's testing is being completely underlooked and overlooked. So I told them, I was like, we got to do women's one part of just to
100%.
focus on
I
women's.
agree with that 100%.
So starting May, so we finished in April, starting May, I'm over there casting for SHIELD. Within like 4 months, we cast the entire 77 of them. And we scheduled the filming in December. So when A4M approached us, we were like, oh my gosh, we have a multi-million-dollar production we're doing in Vegas. And mainly we did that because we said everybody's already going to A4M, so it's a convenient location to choose. We'll go set up shop there.
It was
start
really
production.
perfect.
Perfect timing.
So when they said, let's do the premiere, that's a huge production in itself.
I get
we're
it.
like, we're producing a 10-day filming for SHIELD. How are we going to do that? But of course, again, we said we can do anything.
yeah.
So pre-production for the Oscars of longevity.
We call it the Oscars.
We called it
People
the
came in
Oscars.
tuxedos. They never wore
Doctors
tuxedos.
and scientists
Doctors,
showing up on the
scientists
red
showed up.
carpet.
Really?
So
they,
cute.
They changed. 600 people flew down.
Yeah.
I think 300 of them were already at the expo already.
Right,
right.
But they
The
went
rest
and they
flew.
changed into
put on
tuxedos and
tuxedos,
gowns. We had
black
red
tie.
carpets. We had 11 step and repeats. We had media there, press.
Oh my gosh,
We
the
had a
prep
big
was
stage.
insane.
The
All
whole thing.
everybody was there, and it was just
Very cool.
So here we are in Vegas from December 9th to the 15th. We're filming SHIELD, 12-hour days in front of these lights, interviewing, trying to capture everything, right? Organizing everything. Pre-producing the Oscars, the biggest longevity event.
I get it.
Everything must be perfect. A4M is excited. We're excited. The cast of Biohack Yourself is excited. The cast of SHIELD is staying longer to go to the red carpet because they all want to be celebrated. These are the people that need to be celebrated.
It just became real. Really, the whole
Yeah.
thing
So
just
real.
became real.
Well,
It was an
throughout the
incredible
18 months of
event.
promo, the social media started getting millions of followers. The,
Right.
Yes.
the website,
Right.
we became a news organization.
I get it. How
So
great is that?
People were becoming contributors. We started getting phone calls from this top level academic. Hey, I want to be a contributor. I want to write for your news organization. I have something I want to say. Blah, blah, blah. And then we basically became a whole big production for news.
Look
We
at this.
Yeah.
10 million a month. Viewers
10 million people going to our Instagram.
on
yeah.
Biohack Yourself
Yeah.
Media Instagram.
Yeah.
10 million people
A month.
Yeah.
Some months it's 13 million, some months it's 11.
So guys,
right
you
now
hearing
it's
that?
10.
I want
Yeah.
that out there.
Yeah,
10
yeah.
million a month.
It's right here.
So then-
You're
And that's
seeing it.
your Instagram page for
That's
this.
the
This is the
Biohack
Biohack
Yourself
Yourself
media.
here.
I followed it today.
Yeah.
Biohack
that's what it
Yourself
is.
Media. I go to this
I
to
love
the
it.
dashboard and you can see it all here.
Yeah.
10 million views a month.
Yes.
So they're paying you. You're getting some money from Meta.
We
right?
don't
Instagram.
monetize it. We actually love the fact that it's organic and it's no ads, anything like that.
No, but I'm just saying,
we do
it-
performance advertising for the
Right, right.
practitioner. So what
You
happens
get
is,
monetized. It's worth money.
yeah.
I mean, it's like,
so what happens
you've
is
earned it.
now the companies and the businesses, they get vetted by us. We invented our own peer review.
I love it.
We said the hell
I
with what
love
the
it.
medical
Why
community.
not? Who's better than you to
That's
rate
what
something?
I'm saying.
I would. You rate. Tell me something. I'm going to trust you 100%.
Great.
So we
After
have a
today,
faculty.
100%.
We have
Perfect.
20
No
people.
questions.
Mothers, fathers, practitioners. We created our own board.
I
So
get it.
we review the products, and then we only, with 10, 12 million people, we're not going to give that kind of amplification to
No.
snake oil.
Yeah.
No.
So we now vet and give distribution to the right companies, the right founders, the right products, and things
Who
like
better than the two of you to steward
And
this
we
whole
support-
thing?
we support
All
the
I'm
small
wondering is during this
businesses.
month
Yeah.
of December, who's homeschooling the kid?
Kids are with us.
The kids are coming.
I figured, but
Yeah.
who's homeschooling? You know, this is where, you know.
No, because homeschooling, it's flexible program.
No, I understand.
FLDS
I'm playing with you. I'm
Yeah,
playing.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
what
How
happens,
much
but
can you know?
just to
Yeah,
be
we
clear,
would've had-
she doesn't teach them homeschool. We have homeschool teachers.
Come in.
They
Yeah,
come
yeah,
in.
yeah.
Hired. I get it.
Right,
No,
yeah,
it's-
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't think
yeah.
she's,
Yeah, because most people think I got to take my time and teach my own kid.
some people do that.
Some people do it, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going
I
to
would
teach
have
my kid
actually
Muay Thai.
loved to do that. I always enjoyed teaching them and growing with them. But I think me joining forces with my husband gives a better opportunity for our children.
100%.
What happened with their acting career, right? And why they're not right now. When we left New York, it's not only we were sick and tired of the school industry, but also the entertainment industry. They became of age where their casting notices would come in, and the sides and the descriptions of the characters, for my daughter specifically, were always a broken little girl. The uncle was mean, the father was dead, the mother was this, and it just became too overwhelming for me to consistently say no to different projects because the managers were confused. They're like, so what should
Right,
I
what are you
submit you
looking
to?
for?
So moving to Florida gave me the opportunity to pull back and say, you know what, we're going to take a break and we're going to give them their childhood for now. And they actually made so much money together that they bought real estate. So now they're landlords. Last year in April, again, they closed on their property and they have a tenant that they cash flow with. So that was the result of 6
And
years
how
of
old are
acting.
they now?
At the time, they were 6 and 8 when they closed on the property.
Okay,
Now
so
they're
they're-
7 and 9.
The young landlords.
Well, the young
Yeah.
landlords. And that also gave us the opportunity to put them in our documentaries because the manager side of me, the momager side of me was like, I'm not going to keep them idle. They're not booking anything. Let us put them in our documentaries. So it was actually incredible when they came on board and they're interviewing Dr. Danielle Amen about the most complex topics in the most simplified ways. It gave a whole different perspective. So they interviewed about 25 experts in the Biohack Yourself documentary and about 14 in SHIELD about female longevity. They were with us, they were acting, they had their 2 cents, and it's helping them grow in this whole industry.
They're talking about accelerated growth. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. So December, we released the 5-part documentary, Biohack Yourself. We host the Oscars of longevity. By this time, the industry is booming. Our entire mission is to bring the outsiders in. That's all we want. So we're like, what else can we do? Let's do a big Oscars, right? Because people love watching Oscars.
Yeah. It's entertainment.
Anything can be do. Anything we can do loud and obnoxious, we will to
You're
grab
selling
the outside.
entertainment, but you're
Exactly.
really offering life-changing,
Life-changing
scientific
advice. Yes.
opportunities. I mean,
And talking to them in their love language.
Yes.
People don't want to hear all these complex words. If it's entertaining, they'll absorb it.
Yes.
I get it. You got to keep it simple, and it's, you know, the
KISS method.
you know,
Keep
it's
it simple,
funny.
stupid, yeah.
There's so much information today.
Yeah.
I'm a guy that used to like to read big books. I mean, I read War and Peace twice, just so you guys know. I'm a real reader. I've read a lot of classics, and you quoted Einstein. I read every biography that was written by Einstein.
Yeah.
Because I figured he's probably the smartest guy that, you know, the last 100 years.
Sure.
Why would I not be interested in what he thinks? So a lot
Yeah.
of his opinions that I read are now my opinions because I
Wow.
just figure he's smarter than me. I don't really give a lot of thought to certain things. You
Yeah.
know, physics is not my bag. I mean, I always love science, but I you know what? I take it from him. When it comes to health, biohacking, I'm talking to your wife.
Yeah.
When
Absolutely,
it comes
yeah.
to, you know, the things that you went through, which I potentially could be facing for
Yeah.
my little 4 inches of fat that I pull off my body now, I'm going to come crying,
Yeah. No, we
crawling
got the
to
best
you
people. We got
and,
the best
and
people.
say, listen,
Yeah.
I don't need what you need, but I get, you know,
Yeah.
I might as well.
Absolutely. Why
You know,
not?
I'm always interested in getting more from my wife. You
That's
know,
right.
in every area, physical, mental, you know, all the different emotional.
Yeah.
But what a great story this is. So
Thank you.
biohacking. You have this magazine, right?
The magazine. So the
This
magazine.
is somewhat newish.
This was new. The first. That's the April.
April 21st.
April, that's right.
It just hit me.
April.
Our
I didn't
baby
know-
came.
That's right.
It's a high class magazine. It's
It really
beautifully
is.
done.
Let me tell you about
Very high class. I mean, I know a little bit about these things. I used to own a magazine.
every.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
First of all, it has 12 contributors.
Beautiful.
Dr. Mark Gordon, who has been on Joe Rogan, he spent 2 minutes talking about us on Joe Rogan's podcast last month about his participation in
Dr.
Biohack.
Oz.
Dr.
Yes.
Oz. Every single person that writes for Biohack Yourself is top of their field. The 12 contributors, and then next edition has Brecca in it.
Huge, yeah.
The 12
the
contributors there.
are incredible.
Top
and
of
we're
their
now
field.
getting upwards of 100 articles from scientists and contributors to publish their work in our magazine.
This is for the people, by the people.
I'm going to say you can get anybody you want in this field.
Yeah.
You guys choose now, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
it's power.
We're turning people
This is
down.
the
You have
film.
to.
This is the continuation of the film
I
because we
understand.
recognize we can't keep the audience waiting. This industry is moving way too fast.
So
way too
Eamon's on this
rapidly.
cover. This edition
Movies
is
take
out.
a little bit to edit and release.
Yeah, this
one
is
is a
much better.
2-month turnaround.
But
and
this goes
info is out.
complimentary with our social,
Yeah.
with the website. Gary Brecka and his son Cole are on the next edition. That's
Yes.
July. After that is Lara Trump.
Wow.
Lara
We
Trump.
just
Beautiful.
shot her.
Then we
Gorgeous.
have Dr. Gabrielle Lyon.
Gabrielle Lyon
on the
after that.
following
Beautiful.
issue. We
Yeah.
have many
Really,
people wanted
you
to
make
We
it
have so
happen.
many surprise people.
You're
coming.
making it happen. I
And
just
you know
love
how
this.
we make it happen, right? For our advertisers too. We combine our omni-media approach to amplify them wherever we're so strong at, like
Right.
the social media, the website, the press release articles, the print magazine. In any way we can do to amplify the people that we choose to bring
and
on
the
the print.
message,
Yeah. And
right?
Yeah.
one of the
you're
things-
helping people grow their you know, they're growing their reputations, they're growing their followers and fans, subscribers, they're growing their own income
and their trust,
and
the trust
but
of the
it's
people.
you have decided to, because of who you guys are, what your experience is, you select.
That's right.
And you choose who gets amplified, and that's a beautiful thing because
Yeah.
I trust you now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want you to understand that.
Thank you.
And I am an old dog. And I'm very discerning. I want
Yeah.
the best things in life, and I've been used to them, right? For pretty
Sure.
much, it's just who I've been. Even when I was inside, I was considered wealthy.
Yeah.
Prison wealthy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the kids went to good colleges, and everybody lived a good life. I suffered, but that's what men do.
That's what men do.
How long were you in prison?
I was in federal custody for 9 years and 4 months. Wow. In federal custody. But what's worse than that is I've been fighting with them since 2006. It's 2025. It's gone on for 19 years. It's now ended. But, you know, it's like, it's been a lifetime of, it seems like a lifetime. But now I'm first getting back to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I really thoroughly enjoy podcasting because I get to meet people like you guys.
What episode are we, by the way? This is episode number
He
what?
said 60, maybe 61.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. All I know is that they say I just started really in October or November.
Yeah.
November, I think. I'll have 100 episodes done by, they're looking September, October. Wow. There's some sort of like meaningful point
Quota.
where you could say, you know, I'm a legitimate podcast.
A lot of
these
people
different
quit.
things.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people
It's
quit.
like everything else.
Yes.
It's a grind. You know, men like you, men like me, can tell a story, a tale about our come up through the business world. And it sounds sexy, glamorous, cool, fun. It's a fucking grind, right?
Yeah.
It's what life is. It's a
Yeah.
grind.
Yeah.
You know, you lost 100 some odd pounds and you're bodybuilding. Bro, the alarm goes off. It's a
hard.
grind.
Yeah.
You're hungry. He says, here's a raisin. You know what I mean? I mean,
We
like,
wish a raisin
here's
was a
another
treat.
piece of dry chicken.
I know,
all right?
yeah,
Can I
yeah.
have
Dry
some sauce?
chicken.
No.
That's so true.
Cold
It's
and
dry.
icy too.
Yeah.
You got your little Tupperware. So,
Yeah.
you know, but men like us can craft a tale
Yeah.
that's fun and cool and sexy. But, you know, life, you know, and I look at my life as that way.
Yeah.
I don't look at it as a grind.
Yeah.
But the only way to explain it is it's a grind. Sure. And, you know, I had never met the Lollis before. I sort of became a little bit of an expert on the Lollis. And, you know, I can't think of a couple I'd rather know more about than the Lolli family. I mean that sincerely.
Thank you so much.
Because, you know, what a privilege it is for me to meet these great people.
Thank you.
And, you know, my team ferrets out. You know, a lot of people now want to be on the show. And
Yeah,
I'm getting,
yeah, of
like,
course.
last night a kid came to me and I had to turn him down. I said, listen, you're not, you know, he's like a Jewish comedian, but he's not funny. He's not, and he wants to come and talk about Gaza and Palestine and death. And I'm like, bro, you know,
Yeah.
I'll chat with you all you want over lunch, but I really don't want to.
Yeah.
It's just not my brand right now.
Right.
Now your audience.
And
yeah.
what you guys are bringing is everybody's brand.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is not for a select group of people. Who doesn't want to look fit? Who doesn't want to have a
Yeah.
hot wife that can wear a glittering bikini in front of on a stage in front of 1,000 people and look unbelievable?
Thank you.
Think
Thank you.
about that.
Thank you, yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want a kid that sleeps through the night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You know, if you just coined that one thing and said, here's your answer, you'd have a million women throughout the United world coming to you saying, please, I haven't slept in 2 years. I mean,
Yeah.
because it is. And these snorers, I don't know if you still snore.
No, I mean, we've eradicated it. You know, just the weight was a big deal.
I do. Listen, when you're in prison,
Yeah.
you're locked in the cell. The first thing when they send a guy in, you're like, oh, fuck.
He's going to snore.
I hope he doesn't snore. You're locked in a room with this guy.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Oh
it's like
my
a lawnmower going off all night. I mean, and it's very dangerous
Yes.
if you have that problem.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But it's just been. What am I missing now? What should the audience know about the Lollis that we don't know?
Boy, I mean, we
Covered a lot of ground.
We covered a lot of ground.
Well,
I
where
think.
we're heading right now,
Yeah.
right? So many exciting new industries are calling on us because
Talk
how
to us, tell us.
exciting everything is. Because who doesn't want to be healthy?
Correct.
It
Yeah.
covers everyone, and it covers all this noise too, because everybody's exhausted.
There's a lot of misinformation,
So
too.
much
Terrible stuff
misinformation.
out there.
So much, not only misinformation, but it's infobesity. He calls this word infobesity.
I love that.
Too much obesity of information. So we eliminate that. we
Such a marketing,
simplify.
like a branding.
I know, that's what I'm
really
saying.
good.
Yeah, he's
So
amazing at
impressed,
marketing.
bro.
So impressed, bro.
I am.
That's funny.
I mean it.
But so now, the love for pickleball for us is bringing us to the pickleball world.
That's like
where
blown up
we're
like crazy.
blown up, where we're actually connecting this world of biohacking and pickleball. We want all of our advertisers and all of the companies in the biohacking world to be known to the pickleball experts and athletes and all the industries too. But the pickleball world is calling on us right now, and so is the fashion world. Biohacking and fashion together.
I love it.
It's explosive. So Miami Swim Week has invited officially to cover the event in the sense of health and longevity and what are these models doing for their anti-aging and their longevity. And it's just very interesting how biohacking and fashion, biohacking and sports, biohacking and bodybuilding, everything is connecting to the world
and
of
it all
biohacking.
boils down how you can biohack yourself. Whether you're
Yes.
playing pickleball, paddle rackets, bodybuilding, everyone is biohacking in
If
a
you're a
certain way.
stockbroker,
Yeah.
if you want to feel better, if you're a trader, you want to have a clearer head.
Yeah.
Everything.
You know, we used to smoke cigarettes and drink shots during the day. You know what I mean? That's like 18 cups of coffee.
Exactly, yes.
But today, we know better, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, back in our day, you go out to a bar at night to meet a girl. Now it's 5 o'clock in the morning, run clubs, cold plunge. All the young people are not drinking anymore. And
love
so
it.
that's the new thing. So
Yeah.
we have 17 journalists now that work at Biohack Yourself, the news organization. So they're field journalists, reporters. They're at all of these places telling stories, reporting the news, writing content, letting you know the latest discoveries, the latest longevity clinics that are opening, the latest tools. So we're everything, all things on how you can biohack yourself.
So are you still like the CEO still? Are you running this?
Yes, we're still
hands-on,
running
like?
hands-on. We're very hands-on because
Yeah, we're both running the show.
face
Yeah.
face fronting. We meet every single company, every single advertiser. We want to vet them.
Well,
Sometimes you meet
10
them in
million
person.
views
Yeah.
monthly
Yeah.
on their Instagram, up as high as 13 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys taking this in? You know, you want to
Yeah.
be late to the party. It's your life, your health, your longevity. What a word that is.
That is
Yeah.
I've been into this anti-aging stuff for 25 years now.
Sure.
And it's a meaningful thing. Who doesn't
really
want to
is.
live a better life, live longer, live healthier?
Everything's better. Your relationships, your kids.
And that's
your
what the
business.
Lolli family brings to the table.
Thank you. Yes.
Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fair to say?
Yes.
All right. What else? Am I missing anything?
We're in the beginning stages of filming our biological dentistry documentary.
Oh, yeah.
As that is completely separate right now, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Biological dentistry industry has its own conferences, its own expos. However, the biohacking and the biological dentistry worlds
It's coming
need
together
to-
soon.
They need to merge,
We
and
just
that's
came
what
back
we're
from
doing.
Costa Rica. This is our second time filming there.
Yeah.
It's an international documentary. It shows you that the biohacking starts with the mouth. Not only the
Big
food you
time.
put in your mouth,
Yeah.
but the implants, everything, the root canals.
The root canals, the cavitations, the inflammation
I had
that
a
can
lot
be
of very
happening.
bad dentistry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I suffer for it. Yeah.
A
Of
lot
course.
of people. We just did a
Terrible.
big surgery on my mother, caught
Yep.
it on film, myself.
So we went from we're going from
Remember,
the top.
Smile
everything-
for me, Anthony. Beautiful.
Everything we do is experiential. experiential.
Yeah,
We
we're
put
actually
ourselves
putting
through-
You're in. You're in the
Yeah,
game.
we
I
put
love.
it-
That's
we put
why I
ourselves-
trust you.
Yeah.
I trust you. If you were this 315-pound guy talking to me about hacking and fitness, I'd be
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
let's go for a hamburger, bro. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm like,
He's
you know,
right,
it's
yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
This is your life. I
Exactly.
saw
Yeah.
you. I
Yeah.
saw you take
Thank
out
you.
that fat and say, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed.
Yeah.
She loves me.
Yeah.
Right,
very
and
lucky.
you
Yeah.
know, I love that about a man. You know, when there's not a lot of men like you, bro.
Thank
And
you.
it's really a good
Thank
thing,
you.
and you're like
Yeah.
a whole other level of everything.
Well, again, like I could have been a pain in the neck and forced him and pushed him and done my tricks, and he could have not done it, right? So again, like it.
Whatever happened between you two,
Yeah.
I believe was divine.
Yeah.
I just got your story from where you grew up and how it's like a zillion to one shot.
Yeah.
It's easier to win lotto than the chances that you two would meet and actually hook up and get together and do this kind of thing. This was meant to
In
be.
New York City, too.
My guess is we're going to see the Lollis doing some amazing things in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I would be shocked if Love Lala Lolli and Legend Lion Lolli, these are going to be, I hate to say it, you were like the gardeners. They're going to be
Yeah. We tell them all the time.
managing the
Yes.
They
estate.
got it. They got
Yeah.
to be, yeah.
This is going to be a family to watch and keep an eye on. I want to thank you for today.
Thank you.
Thank
It
you.
has been really a privilege for all you listening out there. Wow. This is going to be.
Thank you.
Big things are coming. I feel
Yeah.
like the best things that you've ever done are right in front of you still. Thank you. Not by. Welcome to Boca.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
we're great to have you.
Yes.
This was awesome. You're an amazing host. Very engaging. I didn't even feel like we were filming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
This was amazing.
It
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.